So if y'all don't know about them Jehovah's Witness, man, it needs to be wildin'. But anywho, don't let Jehovah's Witness talk to you. And so traditionally, Jehovah's Witnesses are dressed up in suits. You can kind of see them from a mile away. They got their pamphlets out. They ready to talk about Jesus. Cool. I can avoid them. But I was coming out the shopping center, and the Jehovah's Witnesses are getting slick now. Mans was dressed up fresh. And usually they come at you respectfully, but he was like, "Hey, yo, what's good, my boy?" And I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" Like I didn't know if I knew this dude or was like, what? Like don't like. It's rare that a stranger says what up to me, like how he said it. Like, "What's good, my boy?" I'm like, "It's like is you challenging me or some shit." Like, "What's good, fam?" And he started talking
like,
to
I know
me.
a little something.
Like he just started talking to me, and then out of nowhere, just whipped out the pamphlet, and I was like, "Damn, this nigga just got me."
And if you ain't fucking with this podcast, then you're just a bitch ass trick.
Welcome back to another episode of Save It for the Pod, episode number 49. It's our 1 year. Geez, not even
1 week anniversary.
1 year. And do you know what yesterday was? It was an anniversary.
What song is that?
I don't
You
know.
said what?
I thought he just made that up.
Nah,
I'm like, what the hell is he singing?
Tony.
Oh.
But nah, it definitely feels good to have a year under our belt. It's been a long, fun ride with the squad.
We've been doing this for a year. That's crazy.
Shout out to all you niggas
yeah.
that's been rocking with us for a year.
Yes.
You feel me?
We don't have the biggest following, but we definitely have a loyal following. Have some loyal listeners. Shout out Matt. Shout out Tatiana. Not my Tatiana, but the other one. Shout out Lindsay, Phil's best friend. Anytime y'all in Florida, we definitely got to get y'all on the pod. Definitely had some dope-ass guests throughout the year. And today we got another dope
Damn,
guest.
you weren't going to shout out Mimi G. She was going to be
Yeah, I
at
was
your
gonna
head.
say,
shit.
I was just about to
She
say,
was
shout
going
out,
to be at your head.
Shout out Mimi, of course. Hopefully we get her on the pod next week. But like I was saying, we got another dope guest on the pod this week. Our boy Mo. That I feel like that was a tongue
You just
twister.
met him today.
Our boy Mo. But no, Phil and AJ had known him for a minute now. You and Phil, y'all fight at the same spot, right?
Yeah. So I'm one of the instructors there, and he trains there. Yeah.
He trains me. Put some
Nice.
respect on his name.
Okay, my bad.
You know what I'm saying? Put some respect on, Boom Goes the Dynamite. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Mo. He's a amateur fighter out of John Way Martial Arts, which is in Plantation. So if y'all need a gym to train at, come to John Way Martial Arts. It really is the best gym in South Florida. And him and his brother fight. He just had, what was that, 3 weeks ago?
2 weeks
Two
ago.
Two weeks ago, he just had a third round knockout, whooped his ass. Well, TKO technically, but he was
TKO,
beating his
And
ass.
on top of that, it wasn't even who he's supposed to fight, and it wasn't in the style he's supposed to fight.
Yeah.
And he
That
should
was a-
just
that
put
was a
anybody in front of
long
me.
day.
So how much preparation did you have for that fight? Like, was it a last minute thing?
No, so pretty much what happened was I was supposed to fight this guy in MMA. We were supposed to fight. I think I got like a 6-week camp in, which is usually what I like to do. And we weighed in. I faced off with him. Mind you, my last fight camp, the guy dropped out the day of. He didn't show up at all.
Okay.
Like we got there and we're like, hey, where's Mo's opponent? They're like, what do you mean? He wasn't supposed to come here.
He saw the tape.
So I was supposed to fight him, and then the day after, I was supposed to get another opponent, and he dropped out as well. So this time, I'm like, okay, it's not gonna happen this time. My guy dropped out. I got a new guy. We got to the weigh-ins. We faced off, and then he got, I don't even know what it's called. I probably can't even pronounce it, but whatever it is, he got like a super rare air bubble. In his
Bubble
chest.
in his lung. Yeah.
And pretty much there's 2 options it can go. It can either collapse his lungs, crush his trachea, or it just dissipates.
Jeez.
I bet he vapes. That sounds like a vape disease.
Yeah.
Vape disease.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
I bet that man vapes.
No, I know you're serious. Like
No,
that's still funny.
I don't know.
It's still
So,
hilarious.
So I actually thought I wasn't gonna fight, and then the morning of, I'm eating like crap. I'm eating like pancakes, I'm drinking soda and stuff like that. And then my coach calls me, which he never calls me. Like, that's just, we always text. So he calls me and goes,
So
hey,
you threw it all up.
yeah,
Nice.
I threw it up.
I'm ready to
He
fight.
goes, do you still want to fight? I was like, look, if you can fight me almost anyone, as long as they're within 15 pounds, I fight them.
Yeah.
I was like, as long as they're 15 pounds, he's like, do you care about record? I was like, I don't care about record. Just fight me anyone. So he's like, all right, I'll get to work. So I work in, and they got me another guy. He ends up throwing up and can't do it. So I'm like, all right, forget it. I'm not doing it. So I start I'm getting ready to drive my brother to the venue. And they go, hey, we got one more guy. He's super game, and he wants to fight you. I was like, perfect. Let's do it. So I actually didn't meet the guy until we got into the ring. That was the first time I ever seen him in my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Jeez, and then you just like pieced him up.
And then you introduced him to this Knuckles.
Yeah, well, it took me a second to figure him out because he was a little taller than I expected. But once I kind of got my timing and stuff,
Yeah.
then,
He didn't seem bad either, but it's just you were better.
well, he wasn't bad. Yeah, he just it was very basic. Like,
Yeah.
he was basically like jab, cross, kick,
Mm-hmm.
And then my biggest thing is once I feel someone's power,
Yeah.
then I can kind of, my confidence kind of goes up. or
Right,
down.
like, oh, that's
Like,
all you
okay.
got?
Yeah, if he hits me, and I'm like, oh shit, then that's a different
Yeah.
story. But he hit me, and I was like, I was kind of bugging about nothing, and then that's when I decided I was gonna put it on.
Yeah, I'm not really expert, but like your technique seems to be very good, very clean, very like precise. So
Yeah. Well, that's
It showed.
for me. That's it's like my calling card. I'm really good at my technique, and my fight IQ is pretty high.
Mhm.
There's some guys like Daniel who's just like Daniel's a monster, right? Like I don't think his fight IQ is as high as mine, but he's a lot meaner than I am.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes he'll take. It doesn't matter. Like I'll kind of like weigh risk versus reward. He'll just go. So we all have our kind of things that make us the best, and in my opinion, it's my fight IQ and my technique.
yeah.
So I want to know a lot more about the fighting stuff. Before we get into that, I kind of want to know more about you. If there's any interesting stuff, do you have any other passions besides fighting? And then how'd you get into fighting? And then we'll kind of go on from there.
Are you an angry person?
Am I angry? No, not at all.
I know.
Well, actually, fighting has been my true passion since I was a kid. So my dad was he actually owned a school at one point.
Okay.
So pretty much we didn't have a babysitter, so all I could do was just go with him.
That's
So
lit.
So I was watching class, and I kept begging, like, please, can I please do it? So at 4, he said, fine, I'll finally let you do it. And I've done it ever since, from 4 till now. And then pretty much when I was around, I want to say 13 or so, we watched Anderson Silva fight in the UFC.
Wait, hold on, pause you real quick. So you said your dad had a school. What kind of school was it?
Fighting style, martial arts style.
It was a kung fu school.
Okay.
A traditional kung fu school. We did do some kind of sparring and stuff like that, but definitely nowhere near the level of Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu and stuff like that. I kind of got into that a little bit later, but my roots come to kung fu, so that's why when I was a kid I liked like Jackie Chan movies, Bruce Lee and things like that. And one of Bruce Lee's biggest things was that you got to venture out and try new styles. So eventually when I got older and I got the chance to train with John, that he was like, look, we got to train other stuff. We got to know jiu-jitsu. We got to know striking because unfortunately, the big stigma about kung fu guys is that they can't fight.
Yeah.
Really?
Right? Yeah, a lot. Yeah. To be honest,
they can't
not a lot of them can.
in a real fight.
Yeah, because there's a lot of theory, right? So
Yeah.
it's if he hits me, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But if you don't actually fight, then you're never going to know how to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So a lot of kung fu guys' problem is that they have all these techniques, these flashy stuff, but when they actually do it, it's about a guy who's like, all right, now block it.
It's it's like an art more than it is practical.
Yeah, I would say it depends. I would say the more commercial it got,
Yeah.
the more it became an art, right? Because now people don't want to get hurt. People don't want to come in and get beat up, and they see all these fancy stuff on TV. So I was just like, okay, let's give the guys what they want. So we'll give them all this fancy stuff, and eventually it got so far to the point where it kind of
You're
diminished as
dancing.
a fighting art. Yeah.
Yeah.
So long story short, pretty much how we got into it as John Way was we started doing tournaments against Muay Thai guys, and we noticed a couple of guys were getting their ass whooped. These guys are beating these guys, not bringing a sweat, and we're like, okay, we need to learn that. That's something we absolutely have to do. And then we started doing it, and eventually I got into MMA, and we just kind of just kept going from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Nice. So, I'm pussy. I'll start off with that. Right off the bat, I'm pussy. Me and fighting has never been a thing.
You hit a nigga?
I mean, I did, but even then, when I the thought going through my head, it's damn, I got to protect my nigga Phil, but it's also I don't want to hurt this nigga. Me punching somebody, I don't know. But my point is, how crazy or what goes through your mind? One, deciding you want to fight, and then two, when you're actually in a fight, because I feel like I'm a pretty boy. You an attractive dude too. Pause, no homo, all that stuff.
Hey, my man looks.
My man, you look good.
I was like, wait, this ain't
you
sound.
a good looking dude, but I wouldn't want my face getting fucked up from a fight. You feel me? So to me, it's crazy that you're able to do this. But can you just let people know that aren't a part of this world that may be in the same boat as me, like that maybe it's not that big of a deal to you or whatever.
Well, look, so I have a little different, unique perspective than a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's like, for example, my brother's been a super athletic guy, has a little
Yeah.
bit of mean streak with him. So like for him, fighting is just something he does.
Okay.
Like me too. I'm a bitch. Like I'll be honest. Like anyone who knows me really well, they're like, I can't believe this guy fights.
Yeah.
So for me personally, it was something where I felt like I was so scared of it for so long. And I was like, you know what? And I saw people fight, and I was like, I look up to them, like, damn, like, why can't I be like those guys? So I was like, you know what, fuck it, like, let me try it. First fight I did, I cried. I got head kicked in the face. I cried immediately. I was like, you know what, I think I'm good. I don't want to do this anymore. But it was one of those things where I felt like everything I've done pretty well. Like, I played basketball for a little bit. It was okay, but I was never garbage. And like fighting, I was garbage. So I was like, okay, like this is something I really got to focus on.
Yeah,
The more I
because
was
you don't
doing
be
it,
garbage.
The better I got, and like, now I'm not the guy getting beat up anymore. Now I'm the guy beating people up. And now I'm like, okay, like I put all this hard work into it, and now I'm having fun with it. So, like for me, I would say I put on like a little, like the Mo that's sitting here is not the same Mo that fights.
Yeah.
Well, two different guys. Like this Mo,
Oh, for
if
sure.
a cockroach walks to the door, I'm running. Like I'm gone. You know what I mean? Like kids used to play like bloody knuckles back in the day. Like two punches down, I'm done. Right? But the Mo in the ring, like that's a different guy. That's the confident Mo. That's the Mo who's just trying to get the job done and get up out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So-
you're definitely super locked in, super focused. Even just your walk in, you walked right past me. I don't even know if you saw me, but I was like, oh, he's super locked in. This is for real. Like,
yeah, it's like an alternate ego. So that's why I like the whole Boom Goes the Dynamite thing, because that's a different Mo, to be honest.
yeah,
with
it's a
you.
different
And,
person. Yeah.
And like for me, it's more not so much like, okay, I'm not trying to get hurt. I'm trying to hurt someone. It's trying to like, how am I gonna best this guy? Is it gonna be a cardio thing where I just don't get tired as much as he does? It's gonna be a pain thing, right? Does he get hurt quicker than I do? Or is it a skill thing, which I like to do, is where I want to see like, okay, how can I outsmart this guy? I'm not the strongest guy, not the biggest guy either, but I'm a lot smarter than a lot of these guys. So how can I use that to my advantage? So for me, it's more of a game than anything else.
Chess
Yeah.
match.
But that's what I was gonna say.
The Mayweather approach.
To Zach, how I mean, obviously I don't fight, but how I think about it is like playing basketball. Like you're not the same person sitting here as when you are playing basketball.
Yeah.
Like it's a different mindset. It's different. Like maybe not your adrenaline's going, but it's a different kind of like I don't know, focus or just like like what it is.
And
Like
I
I'm not the
get
same
that.
person that I am when I'm playing basketball.
And I
Like,
get that, but at the end of the day, like if I were able to fight with like headgear on, it'd be a completely different story. But injuring my face,
you can start that way in amateur.
that is true, but injuring my face, that's just like the number one deterrent for me.
They have a saying in fighting though, the pretty boys are actually the worst because they didn't get fucked up, right? Because there's guys who have like bad scar tissue and stuff like that. So a guy's been fighting for a while and he still looks good, then
Yeah,
He's probably good.
pretty good.
So as far as fighting, not to kind of put your strategy out there or anything like that, but what do you prefer? Like ground and pound? Do you like to stand up and box? So what's
I
your...
mean, I can put my strategy out. It doesn't matter to me. But I like to strike. That's something I started with, like with the Kung Fu originally, and then we got into the Muay Thai. That's the thing I feel the most comfortable with. But I'm a brown belt in Jiu-Jitsu as well, so I feel pretty comfortable both ways, but I'm always going to strike with people first. And the thing with striking is that every fight starts on their feet, and to be honest, if they don't want it to happen, there's not much they can do about it. Like unless they are really good and they can take me down, but I think with fighting, it's one of those things where I can tell you what I'm going to do, and like unless you're really good, you're not going to be able to stop it. So I can tell people I want to strike with them all day. They probably know that by now, and that's what I primarily like to do. But I'm really good at jiu-jitsu as well too. So.
That's something I like about John Wayne Gym is, and I've noticed this by going to the fights, that I would consider the gym a strike first gym.
Yeah.
Even though there's a focus on jiu-jitsu, I feel like the fighters on the team are all strikers. Like they just throw hands. And I appreciate
like
that.
in today in MMA you kind of need both.
You do.
Like you said, like the fight always starts on your feet, but if anything happens, and even if you get roped up even against the fence or somewhere, like you got to know how to defend takedowns. You got to know how to get out of certain holes and stuff.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can go back to like the first UFC with like Horace Gracie, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Right. He taught pretty much people like these guys are kung fu specialists, black belts, taekwondo, karate. He took them down and no one knew what to do.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like a prerequisite everyone needs to know. I would say like it just depends. Like some people prefer the ground game. Like for me, I think it's just more exciting being on the feet.
Yeah.
Personally, I think I have more fun doing it. When I'm on the ground, I'm like, I can control this guy. I'm beating him up. I have more fun on the feet. So that's why I personally go that way. But everyone needs to know a little bit of everything because you never want to get into a spot where you have no idea what's going on.
Right.
Which is one of the scariest things you can do. In
Oh,
the
for
ring.
sure. Because you, like, I mean, watching it is scary. Like, watching someone who clearly doesn't know how to get out of somewhere and doesn't know what they're doing, or someone who is super, like, we talked about this, I wanted to save it for later, but, like, Charles Oliveira, like, he gets through his, I guess, jiu-jitsu technique so quickly that you're like, yo, what is going on? He looks like a spider out there. Like, he just, like, he's in front of you, and then all of a sudden he's on your back. So, I don't know.
You have to have a base. I would say, like, if you have a basics of everything, it'll help out. So, for example, like Khabib, right?
Yeah.
Khabib was never known as a striker, but he has a decent level of understanding of striking, so it can help out his wrestling, right? So, if he's on the feet, he has enough to hang with you. So
and he has the power.
Yeah,
too. So like he hits people and they're like, oh wait, I thought he was just gonna try to wrestle me.
I don't think he has a lot of power.
Yeah.
I think that people are so worried about getting taken down, they forget about the punches.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, punches that knock people out aren't necessarily hard punches. Right? I can take a hard punch, but it's punches you don't see coming.
Like
I was just about to say that. From
fight
training.
You see
punches you don't see coming.
The fight last week in Chaos Williams, his knockout.
Yeah. Oh,
he got his leg kicked. He was on one leg. It still knocked Buddy out cold.
Speaking of, Miguel lives down here. He's actually a super cool guy. I met him a couple of times. Really cool guy. But he kicked him once or twice. His leg was hurting. He thought, oh, I got this guy.
I'm a double kick him.
He was thinking all offense and didn't realize the guy was going to punch back.
Yeah.
So that's what knocked him out. He didn't see the punch coming because he was so worried about, I'm going to hit him, I'm going to hit him, I'm going to hit him.
Yeah.
Didn't think about getting hit himself, which happens a lot of the time.
Right. And it looked like he was winning that fight, or it was even. And then that was it.
I had him up. I had him in that fight, yeah.
So I'm curious, what is probably the most painful thing when you're in a fight, like a UFC fight or MMA fight, that the casual person or non-fighter wouldn't realize, like, damn, that shit's actually painful? Like, y'all were just talking about leg kicks, and I know they're a lot more painful than what they actually look to be.
I would say the worst thing, body shots, for sure.
Body shots?
I'll tell anybody this. I'd rather get knocked out cold than get dropped with a body shot.
Really?
100%. You get knocked out, it doesn't really hurt. You wake up and you're like, crap, I got caught, But body shots, you feel horrible. You feel it for like 2 or 3 days after. And like you ever seen like a big guy get dropped with a body shot? All they do is just curl up like a
crumble,
ball. Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah, I think that's the worst thing you could possibly get hit with. A body shot, a bad one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your favorite punch?
My favorite punch, jab.
Yeah.
Everything starts with a jab in boxing. And I'm a righty, but I fight right foot in front. So for me, the jab sets everything up.
Got you.
That's why I be watching the tape. Man, I was watching you. I'm like, oh, you think it's a southpaw?
Have you? Oh, sorry.
Now I would say I'm a little different in that sense because that's the traditional kung fu side of me. Because a lot of people put their power hand in the back. I put it in front because it's the closest thing to you.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out my stance, and I was just feeling like I just like my power hand going forward. Did that make sense?
Yeah, no, I like
just
it that
using
way,
it more because that's what I'm good with.
Well, people just want to hit people hard, so that's why they put it in the back, right? Sometimes they see someone and they're like, okay, we're fighting. I just need to hit this guy as hard as possible. So that's why they want to put their power hand in the back. But once you get into a little more, you realize, okay, maybe not so much power is the thing. It's how am I going to disguise the punch a little bit. Yeah.
So as Phil's, what do they call it in? Are you his sensei? Like, what do you call it?
We just call it instructor. Yeah.
All right. So we have a previous guest, a good friend, and he used to do MMA, and he still
does.
Okay.
I think he's going back to the gym now.
He's been challenging Phil in a fight. Do you feel like you're a good enough instructor to where you can have Phil prepared for this fight?
Of course. I'll be honest, Phil's pretty good. Like, Phil, my favorite thing about Phil.
Oh, no, don't say that. Because then Gabe's going to be like, oh, he's good? Okay. But the thing is, like, Gabe also has him by, like,
30 pounds.
30?
It might be more
How
than
much do you weigh?
I'm 175 now.
Bro, I'm 30 pounds heavier than you.
Okay, so he might have me by 40.
Yeah, so he's like,
Look,
yeah.
Phil's
or maybe,
a scrapper, though.
Probably 50.
Look, Phil will scrap though. I've seen him sometimes when he goes against big guys and he's blasting these guys. I'm like, man, he probably should chill out a little bit. But
yeah,
like
I love sparring. I don't mind getting hit.
Yeah,
though,
he'll sit there in the pocket, and that's one of the biggest things, right? He's comfortable with getting hit. Like, people just don't like getting hit in the face. I don't like getting hit in the face, but he's pretty comfortable with this.
But Gabe is jiu-jitsu first, so he's gonna try to choke him. I mean, he kicks too. I don't know.
Hey, Phil used to wrestle. He small, man.
Yeah.
Feel scrappy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I joined the gym so I actually now that I'm in the gym, I wish I would have done it when I first came to Florida because my aggression would have helped me out so much. I was just mad aggressive out here because niggas is different. But I joined the gym to get in shape as I was like, oh, it's a way to do something different because weightlifting became tedious and monotonous. And I've always wanted to do like fighting again since I did wrestling. And I was like, oh, I felt like, and I was in the beginning when I came down to Florida, I always get into scuffles. So I feel like one day I'm gonna run into somebody that actually does MMA and they're gonna beat my ass. And so that's why I joined. And then once I joined the gym, I was like, this shit is fun.
He was.
Like,
Absolutely.
like I joined to learn how to take a punch, but then also give a punch. So I was like, I came in there like not being scared to get hit, and I'm just like, oh, like if I get hit, I get hit. I'll be straight, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
Okay,
got health insurance.
what's worse, getting knocked out or getting submitted?
I would say getting knocked out because of the after effects of it.
Yeah.
It is a concussion, right? At the end of the day. So you got to imagine, like, I probably had like one bad concussion. And I didn't even get knocked out. I got hit in the back of the head at the end of a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And you're very sensitive to light. Can't go on your phone. You're
I've
very
had concussions,
nauseous. Loud noises hurt, stuff like that. We get submitted, like, it's more of like a pride thing. It's like, oh, damn, I can't give up, you know?
But yeah, as a fighter, I was saying. Maybe not
as
like
a fighter, I would
physically,
say,
but
like, getting submitted, because you get knocked out, you're like, oh, I just got caught, you know?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
You
But
get submitted,
like
he walked you through that process.
Yeah.
He tapped you out.
hey,
you know?
if you tap out or whatever, it's like you're better. Like it's almost like admitting. That's how I thought of it.
Yeah, I
Or
mean,
like you got me, you know.
look, some guys just will go to sleep. They're like, fuck it, I ain't gonna.
Yeah.
I'd rather just go to sleep.
Justin Gaethje against Khabib, he just went to sleep and woke up like, I can fight next week.
Yeah.
Like,
Look, there was even a thing that Khabib didn't want to break his arm in front of his parents. That's why he
Yeah.
put him to sleep instead. Yeah.
Oh, really? That's what he
Yeah,
said.
that's what he said. He said like his parents were in the audience, so I didn't want to break his arm because I knew it was gonna tap, so I put him to
Khabib
sleep
is
instead.
bro. Khabib's
That's
lit.
wild. Yo, that's nuts. Yo, that's nuts. So nice of him.
Some people are so good, man. Like there's times where like you don't want, you kind of feel like, okay, I'm a little better than this guy. I don't want to hurt him,
Mm-hmm.
because like one of the difference between like one of the scariest thing about fighting is not necessarily getting hurt, is that you're doing it in front of everybody, right?
Yeah.
So let's say I go out there and get my ass whooped. I'm not getting beat up and like by myself. Like everyone's seeing, my girlfriend, my mom, like
Imagine-
everybody.
Imagine how Buddy felt in that 9 seconds.
Honestly, bro. Oh no.
Okay, so we're referencing, like we
Context.
said, his brother fights, and he had a title fight, and they were on the same card, and his brother had a 9-second knockout, which is wild.
Nice, but the guy woke up and tried to fight him still because he thought
Tried
that
to fight
he.
the ref, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he tried to. He was going after what's his name? After your brother.
Danny.
Yeah, but you start grappling with the ref. Because once you get knocked out, you don't really know what's what.
He woke up trying to fight, bro. I was like, oh, that actually. I've seen it happen like in the UFC, but I was like, oh,
This is
he
real
really
life.
he didn't. I was like, this is happening. So, and like I know you didn't see. Did you see it at first or no? I know Phil didn't see it at first. And I was like,
did see it.
guys,
I wasn't. Yeah, I just
Okay.
got, I
Oh,
had
'cause you
just
were right
gotten
there.
back into the arena when they were announcing his name.
yeah.
Yeah,
But-
knockouts are crazy. I remember there was one time we were in Orlando, and there was a guy who got knocked out previous in the card. I hadn't been there, so he gets back, and I guess some promotions are a little like eh. So the guy had like no corner, had like 2 kids there with him,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, I guess he had got knocked out, and these kids are like, dude, you got knocked out. It's freaking crazy. And he was like, do you know what day it is? He's like, I have no idea. He's like, do you know who's president? He's like, Obama. And I was like, ooh.
This was last year.
I was like, ooh. This was like,
How old are you? I'm 12. What am I
it
doing
was
here?
rough.
Where's
He
my
was
mom?
like, I don't know. He was like, what did I do? He's like, I fought Muay Thai. He was like, I don't even know Muay Thai. Like, it was bad. Like he didn't know where it was, and the guy asked, was like, what's your name? He goes, and he was like trying to figure it out, and they're like, yeah, we got to go to the hospital, bro.
Yeah.
That man got knocked into a woof. I had a buddy. He got into a fight when I was in football in high school, and he fought this dude, and he was beating his ass, but he fought in his cleats, and the dude hit him one time, and he slipped and hit his head off the concrete, and he woke up in 4th period. It was, bro, I swear to God, like he hit his head on the
You told me this
concrete,
story,
and he
yeah.
started seizing. And so everybody got scared, right? He's just on the ground like this. Niggas ain't never seen nobody seize before. So we like, oh, you done killed this man. And so he wake up, and we like, bro, you good? He's like, what's the last thing you remember? Last thing I remember is 4th grade math. We was working on something.
You mean fourth
And
period?
I'm- 4th period. I'm like, bro, you just knocked this man in the 4th period. It was wild. And then the coach tried to fight the dude that beat him up.
Oh my god.
Because the dude
Wait,
was like a
I thought
special needs
you
kid.
said he was winning.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was like, you know how you have the badass kids? Like, he was
Oh,
one of
yeah.
them dudes that always fought, but he was kind of special.
Yeah.
So
No, I know what you mean, yeah.
They was like, you always trying to fight. Coach came in like, I'm going to fight his ass. And like, coach short and fat. And I'm like, bro, he going to beat you up.
It's good.
You want some what he got?
For real.
Take your cleats off, coach.
All right, so one thing that I know Mo wanted to talk about was fear. Like, when is it good to have fear? When can you use it to your benefit? So go ahead and let us know what exactly you wanted to talk about as fear goes.
Yeah, I was just curious on your guys' opinion, but for me, I would say like fighters, we have a very close relationship with fear.
Yeah.
And the fact that we know it's not good or bad, right? Because it could be good in some instances,
Yeah.
but it could also be very bad in some instances. You know, I'll say this, for example, I was telling my girlfriend this story the other day. Like one time we were in Colorado not too long ago, and she wasn't scared that it was raining. We're on top of a mountain, so she's climbing. And I'm like, she's going to fall for sure.
Yeah.
So she fell, of course, and I caught her. But then the reason why I didn't climb up the thing is I was like, I'm scared of shit. Like, I'm not going to climb up this thing because I'm probably going to fall. Right? So in that instance, like, fear was a good thing for me. For her, not having fear was kind of a bad thing, right? So it kind of depends. So I was like, you know, fighters, when they come out and they're very fearful, you know, sometimes they're very hesitant. They don't want to go first and stuff like that. Whereas, like, if you have a good relationship with fear where you're like, I'm still nervous and I'm still scared to get hit, but I'm not going to let it stop me, then that's when you have your best results pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
You know? So for you guys, like, what do you guys have? How's your relationship with like fear and like?
Well, shout out to Leanne.
Yeah.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I rock with it. Like, I try to pride myself on being fearless. So, but I can recognize when I get nervous and stuff. So, like, I'm a very reckless person. Like, I just do a lot of unnecessary shit. That I just take risks that people just shouldn't take. And a lot of times I'll look back and be like, damn, I could have died, or that was stupid.
Yeah.
But in terms of when I wrestled or like stepping on the football field, it would be that same thing. So it's like, or having to tackle like a running back that's 250. You see it coming at you and you're like, okay, do I go up? Do I go low? So for me, it's,
Bro, you had high school running backs that were 250.
bro, yeah, yeah.
I've never been 250 in my life.
Really? No, I mean, they Midwest fed.
Midwest vet, bro. A running back in high school too. It's not like I'm
There's
off the point,
definitely
but
no running backs that feel
in
sorry.
high school at 250, unless they were like put him in for a play.
Yeah.
Maybe like it wasn't like
Like a
he wasn't like a
defensive-
starter.
Yeah.
But
Like,
most
or
of
a
the running
fullback.
backs were closer to 200
Yeah.
in high school. And we fought and we played in 8A. And mind you,
fought.
I mean, we played in 8A, which
Yeah.
is like the biggest conference in the state. And I
Right.
was 145 pounds free safety.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter if I got to tackle any running back that's over 175, I'm like, bro, I am about to get embarrassed.
Yeah.
He's about to run right over me. And then like in wrestling, I went up my sophomore year and I was 103 and went up to 112 and got my ass kicked every match.
Yeah.
But it's like you go in there knowing like this dude's bigger than me, he's stronger than me, but I'm gonna still try to beat his ass even though they beat my. I think I won one match that year.
Yeah.
So when do you guys feel like fear is a good thing versus when it's bad?
And I think,
or
fear
death.
keeps maybe I don't want to say safe, but kind of like
But it definitely does.
it keeps you
yeah.
safe, but also kind of like lets you know your limits, kind of in a way, or kind of just keeps you in check and from getting too overconfident.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I guess it could be good when you're in like dangerous situations. Like Phil said, I do reckless things or things that people would claim are reckless. But while I'm doing it, I'm like, all right, I know my limits. Like this is where it's at. So I can get this far and I know how this feels. So like, all right, this is my limit.
Yeah.
Like whether it's climbing up a mountain and when it's wet or like climbing up trees. I used to climb trees higher than like my aunt's house in Maryland, and they'd be like, yo, what are you good up there? I'm like, I'm cool. But yeah.
I think fear kicks in the most in fight or flight, and or like a life or death situation. So it's like the times I'm most fearful are generally when I'm out in public and I know something bad's about to happen.
Yeah.
And because I'm like, shit's about to go down, I could dictate my next move like instantly.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, we need to skate like right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, like, for you maybe life or death. Like people get scared of like, for example, the fear of like even talking to like a girl or something like that. Cause they're like,
Yeah.
oh man, what if
true.
I get embarrassed in front of everybody,
Yeah.
right? So, I think fear is kind of like not black or white. Like you gotta have a good relationship with, right? So
It depends on the situation and what that fear is.
yeah, it depends on the situation. Because there's times when I would say like, for example, let's say talking to a girl, right, where will getting embarrassed be the worst thing that happens? Man, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But there's times where like, the fear is trying to help you. Like, hey, don't do it because it's kind of stupid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think with fear, it's as long as you have a good relationship with it and you understand it really well, and you understand the situation you're in, then it's pretty good. But sometimes I do think like a lot of people make choices on things based on fear.
Yeah.
So that actually leads to a question that I have. Knowing that you're a fighter and you've been fighting for this long, do you feel like that kind of helps with your confidence? And we'll just use the talking to a girl as an example. Because I know for me, like, I hate rejection. So, like, approaching a girl, that'd be tough for me.
Same, yeah.
But if I had that, like, I've been knocked out in the ring, I've been punched in the fucking face, that's nothing in the grand scheme of things of talking to a girl. So this is light work. Like, do you feel that way?
I would have to put it in perspective like that sometimes. So sometimes I will get scared with stuff that I probably shouldn't. And I'm like, okay, well, I could have got knocked down in front of my whole family. But, So for me, sometimes, I would say like things aren't as bad. So like, public speaking, I do a lot. Like I do a lot of seminars for like, kids, for parents and stuff. And people are like, oh, are you nervous you're going to mess up? I'm like, if I mess up, like it's not the worst thing that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Like I've been in situations where if I get knocked out in front of my friends and family, like that's usually, for me, like getting embarrassed in front of everybody is probably the worst thing ever. Because then people are like, how'd your fight go? You're like, oh, not too well, or like, people are like, oh, what happened? What'd you do wrong? Or people like become experts and stuff like that. So that's what like I'm super, because like sometimes you lose and like, you should have been a little meaner in there. I'm like, all right, cool, thanks.
That shit would
appreciate
piss me
it.
the fuck out.
Thanks,
Gotcha.
guy that don't fight for shit.
Oh, that's literally the worst thing. I remember after my last fight, not this one, but the one before that, I won by TKO in the second. And people are like, oh, you should have finished him in the first. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, first of all, you probably should like get off the couch and go do stuff. But
Yeah.
I obviously don't say that shit to your face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think definitely like it puts in a good perspective for me because I know there's worse things that I've done. So this small task is, not as serious compared to everything else. So it does help my confidence. It helps me put stuff in perspective a lot.
Got you. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
as
I definitely have the fear of public speaking and stuff like that. I mean, I think this has helped, but but just in general.
Yeah, public speaking thing for me personally is we do this thing called the parable of the plank, right? So there's this thing where it's like there's a plank on the floor right now. You guys could all probably walk past it, right?
Mhm.
Probably, right? But if I put it up, let's say we put it on the two tables right there, you guys would be like, oh, it's a little scarier, but I can do it for sure, right?
Yeah.
But if I put it on top of two buildings, you'd be like, oh, I don't think I can do it, right?
Yeah.
But it's the same task, right? It's still walking forward in a straight line, but
Yeah.
now the perceived danger is worse. So for example, like public speaking, you're like, oh man, like it's so much, it's just talking, right? You talk every
Yeah.
day, you talk to your friend, talk to people, but I think it's just that perceived like danger of like, oh
So
man, if I F up, then it's gonna mess up. Yeah.
Even with the plank thing, I'm like, but on top of buildings, there's wind, there's more gravity, there's like, so the gravity's gonna be pulling me harder through the plank or whatever. I'd start like,
I mean, you're been pushed over by wind.
yeah. I mean, maybe if you're talking about, I'm
that wind
just
hit
super.
different up on them elevations.
That's my overthinking and my like
Yeah.
analyticalness.
But that's the thing. Like I think with perceived danger, you kind of have like a little bit more overthinking, but that's fear again, right? Like so it's a very simple task of talking, but because it's in front of people now, you're like, oh crap, like this is so much different than I've ever done before. But it's like you talk
I like
all the
that.
time.
I like that parable, but I don't like it at the same time because like there's more if it's on top of a building. Yeah, like
But it's the same
there's
task.
greater. There's
Like,
great,
at the
it's
end
the
of
same task, but there's more risk. Like
There is more
if you
risk, yeah.
fall this high, it's not like death. That's when it gets like
Yeah, but that's like that danger also makes people do stuff that like because walking straight, like I'm sure at any point you can walk straight, right?
Yeah.
But because it's on top of something, you're like, damn, like can I walk straight? Like
You start questioning.
yeah,
if
you start
can walk
questioning yourself,
straight.
start overthinking, and that's when you start messing up a little bit more, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're like, all right, it's just walking forward, I'm sure you could do it 10 times out of 10.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of stuff like that is more so like perceived, like you're thinking that because it's more risk and more danger to it, it's a different task. When in actuality, it's the same task, just a different place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a question as an instructor and a fighter, and it's a multi-part question. What's your favorite demographic to teach, and is there a demographic that you don't like teaching?
Personally, I like teaching the kids.
Yeah.
Because For me, the kids, that's where I started. And like, I was a very shy kid. You know, like I said before, like I was a punk. Like anything scared me. You pushed me too hard, I would cry. So for me, like, I just want to give them what martial arts gave me, right? Which is confidence. Like everything, the way I talk, walk, the way I do things is all because of martial arts. If I didn't have this, you know, I'd probably be just like in a corner somewhere, you know, not doing anything. So I like teaching the kids most. As far as the least favorite thing, I just don't like the whole like fitness thing, like the whole fitness kickboxing thing. For me personally, that's the only class I don't teach at the school, because for me, I like more of like the technical aspect. I like the fighting, I like the art behind it. With fitness kickboxing, is just like you
just come here to work out.
Yeah, it's just a really good workout, and like I don't mind it. You know, I think it's a cool workout for people who've never done this stuff before. But me personally, like I don't enjoy teaching it. It's just something I have to teach.
Yeah.
Okay, and is there an age that's too late to start? Because I'm 30. Like I started when I'm 31, and I want to do an amateur fight. And people like, well, you kind of 31. I'm like, yeah.
No, it's not. Francis Ngannou was like, I think it was like 30 when he got his first fight. Yeah. So
or like 27 or
Phil
something.
is also not Francis
28.
Ngannou. So there is that.
Fair point, but
Bro, that's a scary person.
That is definitely a scary
That
person.
he might be the scariest person alive right now.
see, with Francis Ngannou, the reason that makes me mad is because I'm a person who likes like fight IQ so much.
Yeah.
To see him win hurts me.
Oh, really?
Because he has no
Yeah,
fight
I'm
IQ.
I'm a Biggie Boy fan. We're from the same country, so when they fought, like first 10 seconds, I'm like, okay, Biggie Boy looking good, but Francis just comes out like a tornado, like no technique at all, just swinging and connects a couple of times
Well,
and
him
out.
him versus was the one where he won the title. He fought better in that one though than usual.
Okay, so
What do you think?
Let's
You
talk
tell
about
me.
that real quick,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So he defended one takedown,
Yeah.
right? And he didn't sprint at his opponent, right? That's like basic, like that's what I expect from beginners, right?
Yeah.
Because he's so like wild
Yeah.
that when he does basic shit well, everyone's like, oh my God, he's so much better.
Yeah.
He's just doing basic stuff really well, but
Right.
he's so athletic. So like,
Well, yeah. I wouldn't say that I think he's like super technical or super good, but it's just like you're scary and like you're still an infant in the sport.
yeah, I think if someone wasn't afraid of his like God-given ability,
Yeah.
they would beat him. Stipe Miocic did a really good job, but he got a little too overconfident. That's why he got caught.
Yeah.
I think a John Jones beats him.
Yeah.
A Cyril Gane,
Right. So, but that's what I was gonna ask because that's the next one.
I'm not entirely sure because Cyril Gane does he plays it very safe,
Yeah.
and I think it's just gonna end up being either two things: either he gets knocked out because he wants to make it more exciting, or the opposite happens where it's like a stalemate, and then
And they're gonna
none of
give it
them
to
strike.
the
Yeah.
current champion.
Because yeah, when it comes to close decisions, they always get their champion.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. But I don't think Ngannou's the guy either. Like, because he can't play that technical game. If they do that, he'll just wait for him.
Right.
They'll just end up staring at each other the whole time. But I don't think Ngannou's all that good. I think he's just really, really physically gifted. But as far
Right.
as like
Oh, yeah.
technique and stuff, he's not good.
Yeah, but he's
But and his story
built
is
like
crazy.
the Hulk.
Right.
So there's that.
Yeah, I mean that's the cool part about fighting. It's
Yeah.
not fair, right?
Yeah, it's not fair.
It's not fair, right?
I love
like these guys can train for their whole lives. Like John Jones, right? John
Yeah.
Jones would take cocaine and like black out a week before his fight and still beat people. Like it's
Right.
not fair. It's not how it goes. You know, it's not the whole like if you train really hard, you'll win. Will it help your chances of winning? 100%. Will it make you win? Not at all.
Yeah.
I think part of the best thing about Ngannou, other than his like athleticism and stuff, is like the story and how he got to where he is now. And I feel like that gives you a different level that you can get to, or a different kind of perspective when you're in there.
Yeah, I would say definitely like
My bad.
fighting is what we call like there's a saying that's like the chamber of truth, right? So whoever you are as a person, you'll see it in the ring. So for him, right, like that guy will never quit on himself, right?
Yeah.
There'll never be a fight where you see him get hit with a couple shots and he starts cowering away from guys. Because think about this, like he didn't have shoes until he was like 20, right? Like something crazy like that. You know, it's like with fighting, you know, because he has that story, you kind of have a bigger, I want to say like you have a better idea who he is as a fighter too.
Yeah.
Like he's not gonna give up. Like if
Wait.
you're a punk, like you'll see it in the ring too.
Have you heard his story? Like, did you listen to an interview about it or anything, or how he got to like Spain and all that?
I know very briefly of it, but I don't
Bro,
know
this
too well.
man went through like everything. He wanted to become a boxer at first. He wanted to be Mike Tyson. You just have to listen. I can't even do it justice, but
Send
he
him the
walked through
pod.
deserts like I can't even like do it justice. Just like listen and you'll be like, okay, this is insane. Probably the craziest. Like he was because he illegally immigrated from Cameroon. That's where he's from.
I think so. Yeah.
All the way to Spain, and then made it to France. So he's in France. He was homeless and sleeping on the street. But you have to make it through the Sahara Desert to get there. Then after you're in Morocco, you have to get to Spain, and by getting to Spain, you have to create rafts and stuff to get to get there. And they caught him like 27 times before he actually made it.
Oh, jeez,
And when they catch you, they throw you back in the desert on the other side of barbed wire fences. You have to climb over the barbed wire fence. Or find a hole in the fence. And then once you're in Morocco, you have to beg for enough money to be able to buy the supplies to make another raft and then try it again. So I don't know if it was, I think it might have been 8 times. I might have been lying about the 27. But anyways, it's crazy.
More than 2 is a lot.
Yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
So then
exactly.
he one time he got caught on the barbed wire fence, and it tore up his stomach to the point where he had to go to the hospital. After he went to the hospital, they fixed him. They threw him back in the desert.
Damn.
Then he had to try all over again. So
See, we talk about fear. I'm way too fearful to
Right?
even
It's like-
think about doing any of that.
So
in the distance from Cameroon to like Morocco and how big the Sahara Desert is and making it through that's like it's just insane to me to even think.
but that's why he's the champion.
Partially, yeah. Other than being
he won't give up, right? Like
Yeah.
like I said, most people, I would have given up after 2 times. Like, you know what? Maybe this place ain't that bad.
Yeah.
So like
Exactly.
8 times, that's a lot.
Yeah,
bro, like
facts.
I don't even know the number, but it might even be more than that. But
Yeah. Like,
then after that, he was homeless in France, and then he's like, "Let me fight at this gym and do whatever to." That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So I got something, right? So on the podcast a lot, we've discussed this extensively, and I always come off as kind of harsh. We talk about how just men are just wild sometimes, and like how it's a lot of dangers for women out there. And then I always refute it with it is dangerous out there for women, but at the same time, women have the opportunity to learn how to defend themselves. What's your take on like women learning self-defense or women in fighting and just combating wild dudes?
See, I would say definitely like I recommend any woman like in my life, any woman in my life, I tell them you gotta try class. You that's just something you have to do. Like even Leanne when she came back from UCF, and she was like, oh, I don't know if I should go. I was like, you have to. That's just something you have to do. You know, because like I said, dudes are wild too, but with girls, it just seems like some guys just see it as like an easy target, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like they have to learn it because even if they don't have to use it, at least they have it. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think everyone, boys and girls, but definitely like women in general too, they have to learn martial arts because people are crazy.
Yeah.
And I've heard some horror stories. That's unfortunate part about working where I work is that people call and you're like, why do you want to try martial arts? And some people it'll take them a little bit of time to like open up about it, but some people will tell you off bat. And I've heard some really bad stories. I'm like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
like I would be scared to go out anywhere if I had the same thing happen to me that happened to them. So definitely like when I hear those stories, I'm like, man, like I just want to help you as fast as I can. So definitely I would say like women in general should just always try martial arts, even if you just do like a seminar here and there. You don't have to be like fighting people all the time, but you just need to know it for sure.
Is there a style that you would recommend for women more?
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu.
Because jiu-jitsu technique, and you don't really have to. It's not. You don't have to worry about like size as much. Doesn't matter as much, right?
Yeah, because with striking, it's one of those things where like I could take some guy off the street and we just close our eyes and start swinging. It's kind of like whoever hits who first, right? With jiu-jitsu is one of those things where it's a skill thing, right? If you don't know what you're doing there, you won't beat someone.
That's funny because I spar with she works at the gym. Ponytail, it's like 15, 16.
Shane.
Shane, I spar with we were like MMA sparring, and then we went on the floor, and like I'm probably like 50, 60 pounds heavier than her, and like I could not get a move in on her. I'm like, damn, you are good.
Yeah.
Like she was killing it, and I'm like, God damn, this little girl's strong.
Sorry if this is a dumb question, but is there a difference between just jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
As far as technique goes, there's probably like small differences.
Okay.
But mostly I would say just more like origin.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, like what's happening about martial arts now is that people are realizing that there's only a finite amount of moves that work.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff are very similar. I would say like Japanese jiu-jitsu, which is the other one, probably has a little different moves, but they're all pretty similar.
Okay, I got you.
But I would say, yeah, definitely jiu-jitsu is the thing I preach to everyone because it's one of those things where you can't just like luckily tap someone out, right? You can
Yeah.
luckily hit someone with a good punch, but you can't luckily tap someone out. You need to know. You need to have skill for that.
Got you.
Yeah.
I gotta start going.
Yeah,
back
Phil,
to
you were a
jiu-jitsu,
little
man.
bit misleading with your question. We never said that women shouldn't.
No, I said I'm saying I didn't say y'all shouldn't. I said what I usually say is like,
Yeah.
this is what women should do. So I'm not saying that y'all don't, because y'all are like, well, men are crazy, men should be more accountable, and I'm like, yes, I get that. I'm of the mindset. It's like with guns, right? Guns are legal, so I feel like because guns are legal, you should have a gun, not necessarily because you want to shoot or kill people, but because everybody else got them. So if everybody else got them, I probably should have one just in case, because I don't want to get caught in a gunfight and not have one.
I get what you're saying. So look, I'll even, further your point a minute ago, you said that like guys should be more accountable, right? Do I agree with that statement? 100%. But I do think that there's only so many things you can control, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say I say that, I can't go out there and make all these guys accountable, right? Like they want to be crazy. Like no matter what I say to them, they will always be the same.
Facts.
So that being said, like I don't think it's just one of those things where we're just like, hey, guys, be more accountable. I'm good now. Like no, you can say that, but like you got to know that no matter what you say, people are still going to be the way they're going to be. So you need to have something just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. Ladies, sign up for them classes. One is going to help you. And then two, you got something in your back pocket. Bitch might run up on you. You might have to take her down too.
Bro, you take your feet off.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
just realized his toes can be in the
Stay
camera for the
having his
longest.
feet in the camera.
Bro, but you gotta edit it, like blur them out. Please.
Yeah.
My feet ain't ugly though.
So we could get off this for a little bit. So I know one thing that you wanted to talk about, AJ, was the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh yeah, it came up before the podcast, and I remembered I had a story. But wait, you want to tell your story first, Phil? That's how it started.
Oh, so if y'all don't know about them Jehovah's Witness, man, it needs to be wildin'. But anywho, don't let Jehovah's Witness talk to you. And so usually, traditionally, Jehovah's Witness are dressed up in suits. You can kind of see them from a mile away. They got their pamphlets out. They ready to talk about Jesus. Cool. I can avoid them. But I was coming out the shopping center, and the Jehovah's Witnesses are getting slick now. Mans was dressed up fresh. And usually they come at you respectfully, but he was like, hey, yo, what's good, my boy? And I'm like, yo, what's up? Like, I didn't know if I knew this dude, or was like, what, like, don't, like, it's rare that a stranger says what up to me, like how he said it. Like, what's good, my boy? I'm like, it's like, is you challenging me or some shit? Like, what's good, fam? And he started
He's
talking
like, I know a
to me.
little something.
Like, he just started talking to me, and then out of nowhere just whipped out the pamphlet. And I was like, damn, this nigga just got me.
You think they trained for that?
They have
Probably.
to. Bro,
They're like, we're not getting nearly as much people as we should.
Bro, they have to. Like, he did it so smooth. And I was like, we was talking about life, and he's just like, he didn't even mention God the first 5 minutes of talking. He was talking about like, oh, what I shop for? Do I shop at this shop? I'm like, yeah, man, I frequent this place a lot. It's actually really cool. They got some good sales going on. And then he was like, oh yeah, by the way, man, like, what you went to? I was like, what you mean? You go to church? Bam, whipped it out. And I'm like, bro, this nigga just got
See, and
so good.
it sounds like he had way better of a spiel that he told you, because one day I was leaving UM, and these two students, I think they were students, they walked up on me, and I don't remember exactly what they said, but it was a white dude and a black dude. The white dude was so awkward. He was like, hey, how's it going? My name's da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, nice to meet you. He was like, hey, just letting you know we're a part of this organization. And I'm saying it way better than he did, mind you. But he's like, we're a part of this organization, and we meet. Can I get your cell phone number? And in my head, I'm like, you could have kept this conversation probably going a little more before you asked for my number. Like, the way you asked, like, it was just so abrupt. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not a student. I'm actually a professional staff person. He was like, oh, it doesn't matter. You can still attend our meetings. And I was like, bro, honestly, I'm not trying to bullshit you. I'm not religious at all. I'm not attending these. He's like, oh, okay. And then he kept asking me more questions, but these people definitely need to work on their spiel. Like, again,
That was his first time in the field. My dude was experienced.
Oh yeah, your guy was
He's a
good.
vet.
Your guy was
That's
good.
the
for
Michael
sure.
Jordan of Jehovah's Witnesses right there.
I was like, I didn't even see a pamphlet in his hand.
They have another technique, and that's where my story comes in, right? So, I get a random call on my cell phone, but it wasn't like unknown number, whatever. It had the person's name on it or something. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'll answer it.
Did it say like
just in case?
And then the person's name?
No, I just had their name on it. Like
Okay.
it's been doing that recently. So sometimes I'll pick those up just in like, I don't know, just in case. But it was like a Saturday or something. And then it was actually no, I don't know if it had the name, but it had a 954 area code. That's what it was. It was 954 area code, and it was like, I think I was waiting for a certain call. So I picked it up, and they're like, hey, what's up? It's this, but I'm not really trying to sell anything. Just like, we're just calling people around it's your neighbor or something, calling people around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And this is and that, and just ask them to check out this this site called jw.org. Can you check it out? And I was like, I was like, I don't know what that jw.org. I was like, that could be anything.
That's slick.
So
though.
right. So I was like,
JW.org.
so I was like, oh no, I can't right now. I'm busy right now, and I'm not by my computer. My computer's right in front of me. I was like, I'm not looking that up. I'm not looking it up while I'm on the phone with somebody. Like, I don't know who this
They might
person
be
is
trying
or
to
whatever.
track you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're just someone in the neighborhood. This and that. Can you check it out? And I was like, I can't right now, but I'll check it out later. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, after you check it out, can we call you? Like, I'll just call you next week and see how whatever's going on. And I was like, all right, this is kind of like different and weird, but okay. I didn't look it up. And this person, right? They oh, that's another thing. They said, oh, she said, no, okay, no, she didn't say that. I heard. So what ended up happening? I was like, all right, bye. And I didn't hang up because I had it on speaker and I had it on the table. They also didn't hang up. And then they just started talking and they're like, hey, so how'd it go? And I was like, three people talking and back there. And they're like, yeah, his name isn't Bernard. And I was like, Bernard. Then I realized I've been getting calls and like voicemails from the fire department or something.
Yeah.
Saying like, oh, like this is the fire department. We're looking for Bernard for like a donation or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it's not Bernard. And he's like, yeah, I'll update his name in the system. And I'm like, what kind of, like, what is this that they're doing? Because they didn't try to sell me anything. They didn't ask me for no information, nothing. So I'm just listening. The lady has the phone on still. I guess she thought I hung up, but I don't know why she didn't hang up. But you can tell she sounded like older. She's probably like 50s or something. Didn't seem like 60s. Didn't seem too tech savvy. So I'm listening, and they're like, all right, I'm going to update his name. His name is what? And they're like, yeah, but I think it was, when I answered, he's like, he sounded really young. And I was like, oh, no. He's like, yeah, like probably like 18 or something or 17. Like, he sounded very polite, like a nice kid. But maybe we'll try again later. Maybe the parents will be home. I'm like, bro, I really sound that young. So that was funny. So at this point, I didn't even know they were Jehovah's Witness at first. So then I end up just like, they just get quiet and go back to working or doing whatever, and I just hang up because I was like, all right, if they're scamming, I'm trying to hear what they're really about.
Exactly.
Especially if they left the phone on. So then later on, I go to jw.org just to check it out. And it's Jehovah's Witness. I'm like, bro, are you serious? They're calling people. They got a website. They're like, just check it out. I'll call you next week. See if you like it.
The website name's so smooth.
Right,
JW. Be anything. .org. And then you know if it's a .org, it's an official website. So you're like, this could be like a government database or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just stay away from my dope fam. Like, I don't even know how niggas get. How do they even recruit new members?
That's what I'm saying.
Because y'all don't celebrate nothing.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Y'all dress Amish almost.
Nah, they don't dress.
And then they put you out on the
different.
corner. They solicit you to go solicit people. Like, I don't want to prostitute for the Lord. Like, what the hell?
So
My
real
hair's on the
quick-
corner just, hey,
real
man,
quick.
sign up for Jesus. Like, what you mean sign up for Jesus?
Because I don't want to offend anybody. So the views of Zach Bemmel, these are not the views of Mo, Phil, and AJ. But my thing is, like, y'all know, well, you don't know, but AJ and Phil, y'all know I'm atheist. Like, I don't believe in nothing.
This nigga the devil.
But I'm hoping for everybody, like all these like super religious people that like spread the gospel and the word of the Lord. Like, for their sake, I really hope that God exists or whoever their higher being exists. Because I would hate for them to spend their whole life dedicating, like, spreading the word of something that's not real. Like, being just a regular salesperson, I'm sure is.
Wait, what's not real? You saying God not real?
I'm saying.
What you saying, Zach?
No,
Wait,
I
what
don't
you
know.
saying, my boy?
At the end of the day, I don't know. So maybe I'm agnostic. I don't know. But for their sake, I hope that it is real. Because spending your whole life on like, hey, like, come believe in this person, and then at the end of your life, you find out that it's not real. Like that'd be
It was
super
all one
devastating.
big farce. What you trying to?
Yeah.
Who you working with?
I'm not working with anybody.
You signed us up for the Illuminati, G? I got a
again,
blood sacrifice. Let me know, G. I don't like what's coming out that
these
corner
are the
over there.
views of Zach, nobody else.
Goddamn Satan.
Anyway, so the white devil we could talk about, Kyle Rittenhouse.
That was a great transition.
He unfortunately today, he was acquitted of all charges.
Is it unfortunate?
I mean, yes, it's unfortunate. I think what you're asking is it surprising? And for you, no, it wasn't surprising. For a lot of people, it wasn't surprising. I was naive. I did not think that he'd be acquitted like this. I did think he'd be charged and sent to jail, but I guess I was wrong.
Always wrong.
Yeah.
I actually wasn't surprised, and then once I looked at the facts, I was like, okay, he has a decent case for self-defense, technically. If you look at, he did have, like, the dudes that ran up on him, they had guns.
Yeah.
So technically, he had a good case for self-defense. Not
In
saying
the
if
video
it's wrong.
clip they showed, yeah.
Yeah, in the video clip they showed, he had a strong case for self-defense.
Not
Cool.
even if it's a strong case, but you just have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And like,
And
if you watch the at least the clip that I saw, is like,
Yeah.
okay, I can see beyond if they really have to go beyond a reasonable doubt, then
My issue is not the self-defense case. My issue is, bro had an illegal gun and drove across state
and
line.
is 17 years old.
And then the judge was like, just straight was like, yeah, you can't, we not even talking about that. Like, he dismissed that from the start.
Yeah.
Like, he dismissed the gun charge, would have been the one charge that would have locked him up.
Yeah.
And so in that whole case, that gets lost. So now it's well, now you can be white and young, and now it's politicized, and well, black guy do this. And I'm like, fuck all that. Bro took a gun across state lines.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the judge threw it out.
Yeah. No, most
Most likely because he's white, but
When I-
I'm just like disappointed in that part.
When I saw that, I was like, it's not looking good for the rest of it.
Yeah,
But
I wasn't
even
mad at the
still,
verdict, but
it was even still, it's like, well, how you let that go? I don't know.
because that's the one that would have locked him up. You can't. There's nothing you could argue about that.
Yeah.
We know for a fact that he wasn't old enough to get an AR-15. He's from Illinois. You drove across state lines which is another thing. Nobody's driving across state line to protect property that ain't theirs.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yo, let's keep it a
Like,
bean.
he obviously went looking for trouble. That's the thing.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, it's not illegal to go looking for
It's
trouble.
not. It's not at all.
I mean, it's stupid,
Yeah.
but it's not illegal. You can go be like, oh, them niggas about to get into some mischief. I'm gonna see what they doing over there. I just want to check it out.
Yeah, but with an AR-15, looking for trouble with an AR-15, that should be a law. No.
At this
That
point
should be-
now,
I don't know.
AR-15s
Yeah.
to young white dudes is like handguns.
That's
Keep
true.
it a belt.
Exactly.
Call of Duty era.
Exactly.
For real, if you don't got an AR-15, bro, are you really hanging out?
Are you really hanging out?
I'm just
Nah,
saying.
but I don't know, man. Yes, he's gonna be a free man, but I do feel like moving forward, at least for the next few years, his life will be a living hell. So
I just don't understand why these people get their
No,
hopes
but
up.
he's
I would say
some
maybe,
people
but-
are calling him a hero.
He's about to be a made
So-
man.
so I don't
but
think
there's there are gonna also be. I mean, I don't know the town he lives in.
Yeah.
Wisconsin. This ain't in Wisconsin. Like,
Oh, he's from
He'll be fine.
he's from Illinois. you
yeah.
said. Yeah.
Well, the part of Illinois he's in,
Yeah.
trust me,
No,
all the
yeah,
black
for
people
sure.
are concentrated in Chicagoland area, and I don't think he's in that part for the most part.
Yeah.
And the places in Wisconsin that he's hanging out, again, all the black people are concentrated in Milwaukee.
He's not gonna be around people that doesn't like
Yeah.
him. He's gonna
Honestly,
be
like, the
a
one thing
hero.
about it is like if you look at social media, there's a lot of people who are super happy that he,
Yeah.
you know, they were just like, oh, like you're protecting our rights for holding guns and stuff like that. So I think he should be okay because there's a lot of people
It's-
on his side.
Yeah. I
he
mean,
gonna
there's
be
it's
straight.
the president is like
He gonna be straight. The
Right.
president acknowledged
not
him,
the president,
former-
but I'm saying like the with the C PRECEDNT. That
oh, the precedents.
yeah, the precedent.
Presidents.
I don't know whatever
Precedent.
word that is.
Yeah, precedent.
Okay, now it feels like I don't even know. I'm not
Don't
confident
ever
anymore.
listen to English from Phil, bro.
That ain't my first
The
language.
presidents. But anyways, that kind of held up. But it's like all the people who are cheering for that part, it's cool. But under the context and the way he went about it and what he did, like self-defense, cool. But like
You put yourself in a position where you could,
you went looking
had no
for
other
trouble.
choice.
Yeah.
had
You
no
were
other choice.
you were
Yeah.
pointing this gun at people.
It's like
They in a situation you know they were upset, and they're going out there to protest. Like,
he's like, they rioting. You know what I'm about to do? I'm about to grab this AR-15. And I'm
so
about to go
kind
stop
like
those
cheering
rioters.
cheering him on and being happy and proud of that verdict is kind of like just showing like, yo, you're not really looking at the entire picture.
Yeah,
I think these
exactly.
people are more so like people are just selfish in general, right?
Yeah.
But they're not thinking about everything else. They're just thinking about, oh man, they're gonna take my guns away.
Yeah.
That's the biggest. That's I think in my opinion, the people who are happy about it
Yeah.
are more so worried about
The
their
guns, yeah.
their laws about their own guns,
Right.
not necessarily what happened there. They don't care. They're
Right.
just worried about themselves.
Which is
Yeah.
cool, but I'm saying for you to be like super outwardly spoken about that in
Yeah.
that situation. There's like, all right, if you're back home, like, all right, cool. Like now, if I get into a situation with my guns, my rights are still protected. But it's like, all right, he's a hero. There's like, I don't know.
My thing is, I always just find it so interesting that people let cases like this get them so emotionally riled up.
Right.
And they're so invested, and they're just like, it's never going to be justice in America, and I can't even go on with my day. I'm like, bro, it ain't got shit to do with you. It do, but it don't. Like, the grand scheme of things, sure. But at the end of the day, it's like, all right, well, it sucks, but I'm not about to let this shit ruin my day.
Yeah, but I don't know. But some people are directly affected in a different. I mean, I'm sure you are too, but in a different way,
Yeah.
where they've had family members go through the same thing, and the same decency or whatever you want to call it wasn't afforded to them. So
Oh, for
obviously
sure.
that's gonna So that's gonna make you feel it. Like it doesn't affect you, but to some people, like, all right, my brother, not my brother, but like to. I'm speaking as like a random person or like some other person. My brother had a gun and got arrested. He's in jail. He didn't shoot anybody. He just had it illegal or whatever, you know.
I know
And
my
and it's
brother
two
got a gun
different.
charge. Like,
Oh,
I
that's
definitely
okay.
understand.
So
But
that's
it's
why
just like,
people are upset like that.
But again, it's, we know the system's tilted.
Yeah.
So
Well,
if
Phil,
you,
so what I was gonna say is also for all of us in here as black men, we've seen the system be tilted a certain type of way. So for us, we're also kind of a little bit jaded. You especially. Then you also have the millennials or other people that maybe aren't black or black men, but are for the culture. But they've also had an entitled, or maybe not entitled, but they've had certain things given to them, and they expect certain things. So yeah, they may be fighting for us and on our side, but when they see something not go in their favor, they're not used to that. Whereas for us, it's like, okay, we were kind of expecting that. So that's why you have certain people getting mad over a verdict and affecting them so heavily, because they want to be for us. And it's like all these injustices continue to happen for black people or whatever minority group. And again, they're used to getting things their way, and it's not going their way. So that's why they get so upset.
so then you know how you be
Mhm.
for us? Just sit back and watch how we react and take heed.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I would still say fight for us as best as you can. You can't just say sit back and be okay with the verdict.
No, it's you don't. It's like it gets to a point where it's doing too much, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think a part of it too is like when you see things, like you said, it's tilted, right? When you see things go wrong so many times, you're just like, please, can it go right this one time? So when it doesn't again, you're like, damn. It just feels like, okay, like,
Like, all right,
yeah,
I've
it's
seen
like-
this before. It's a rerun. Like, that's why I don't get too crazy. None of like any of these trials, I always expect the worst outcome. I actually get more excited when it's the outcome I didn't expect, and I'm like, damn, they actually got something right. That's cool. I'll celebrate that instead of getting mad at every trial. I'm like, this one could have been different. They killed him in 4K. Like, it's clear as day. Nah, they probably still gonna find a way to get him off.
yeah.
That's literally the justice system. So, I was like, all right.
Yeah, but at this point, like a lot of people, like all they can do is hope, right? We can just hope
Yeah.
that it goes well, and then when it doesn't, you're like, damn, again, you know, like there's only so many times we're just like, fuck it. Like now, then you could turn into like some person who's like, okay, it's always gonna go wrong.
That's me
Yeah.
desensitized, and I'm just like, no hope.
Yeah, you're definitely super jaded.
Chicago, man, Chicago.
We can move on though. So Mo, we have a segment on the pod called "Get It Off Your Chest." It's a time to, if there's anything that bothers you, kind of treat this like a therapy session. And maybe you don't need it because you're a fighter, so all that aggression always gets out for you. But is there anything that has been bothering you, or anything you need to get off your chest that you need to let the podcast and listeners know?
I mean, probably what I said earlier, that like, you know, sometimes people will watch like a fight or something you do, and they'll kind of put their own like 2 cents into it.
Yeah.
Because right, they just don't know, right? Like if you haven't been in that arena, if you haven't fought in front of everybody, had that pressure of like not only physical harm, but like hard to your pride too. You know, if you haven't been in that situation, then I don't feel like you can talk about it, right? At the end of the day, like if you can't be like, oh, if I was in there, I could have done X, Y, and Z. It's like you couldn't. You probably couldn't. To be honest with you, yeah. So I think that's one thing that, like, you know, after the fights, the one thing I don't particularly enjoy, because everyone has something to say. Like, I finished the guy in the third round. They're like, oh, you should have started a little faster. I'm like, okay, well, like, to be honest, you get beat up in sparring by regular people. So, like, it doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean?
But some people think that's encouraging. Like, oh, you could have had him in a second. Like,
yeah, you know, like, one of the things I get a lot, too, is just because I'm a nice guy, that they're like, oh, you could have been meaner. I was like, I was punching him in the face. Like, how much meaner could I possibly get? You know what I mean? Like,
I was hitting this nigga, fam.
yeah, they're like, oh, you know, like, if I was in there, I just black out sometimes. I'm like, all right, cool, relax, guy.
Right.
You know, it's like, you know, I just think people got to
that's
realize.
probably why you lost now.
Yeah. But it's like, it's in like all sports, right? They're like, oh, if I had the opportunity, I would have hit the crossover, I would have shot the three. It's like, yeah, okay.
But you don't.
Yeah, it's like, but you don't, and you probably couldn't. Like, if you were in that situation with all the stress and stuff like that, you just probably couldn't do it. So my opinion is like, you know, if you have some opinions like that, keep it to yourself. You know, like, unless you're my coach, I don't want to hear it.
You really are a nice guy, because I would have been like, for real, if y'all don't fight, just say good fight and keep it moving. And just shut up and stop talking to me. I don't want your 2 cents.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I think one of the funnier things is that, like, sometimes we do like smoker shows. So smoker shows are pretty much like tournaments where they're like the local. There's not a lot of people there. Everyone's still relatively beginners. First thing I always get, oh man, I didn't know it was that hard. Really, man? You know, I was like, you know, I'm like, you see what I'm talking about? And that's a smoker show. That's not like the bigger shows. These guys aren't all that skilled, you know. But yeah, sometimes like I think I don't want to hear your 2 cents. Like, unless you're really doing it, then I'll care what you say. But if you're not, then like, you know, it goes through one ear out the other. But at the end of the day, like, there's only so much. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, like, I get it. Like, if you were in the shoes, you would have done better, you know?
Hey, at your next fight, when you win, I'm going to definitely be in your ear like, yo, you should have jabbed his ass.
For real, just to do that. I'm like, bro, I seen you slipped in there. If I was in there, I would have done it like this, take some notes.
Look, I'll say, even this fight, right after I got out of the cage, but while I was walking to the interviews, they're like, oh, man, you started off a little slow. Like, you should have started off faster. I'm like, congratulations. Thank you. I appreciate it. Like, you know, like, can you
I
say
thought
congrats?
that was such a great. I felt like, I was like, yo, he's kicking his ass this whole fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought at some point they would have stopped it earlier. But I, like, from the, like, maybe 2 minutes into the first round, I'm like, oh, yeah, he about to beat his ass. All fight. At some point, he's finna knock him out. I thought he was going to knock him out straight. Like,
yeah, you know, you take your time, because at the end of the day, right, like, there's...
And
there's such a
especially
small
you said, you had never even seen this dude before until you're in the ring. So you can watch no film on him. You don't really know what he's good at or whatever. So what it seemed to me is like, all right, I'm gonna pick my shots, I'm gonna learn, and then I'm gonna keep getting better. I can do this, and then, yeah, that's what it looked like at least.
I think one thing that people don't understand is the margin for error is so small.
Right.
So, for example, Daniel's guy, right? Daniel's guy decided, okay, I'm gonna go in this guy's face immediately, right? And what did he get for it? 3 punches and
9
got
seconds.
knocked out, right? Exactly. So, like, one small mistake ruins your whole night, right? And to be honest, let's be honest, like, with fighters, it ruins, like, your next couple of months, right?
Yeah.
Because we always say, like, you're always as good as your last fight.
And you fight once, three times a year, sometimes max.
And then you gotta tell everybody, oh, how did the fight go? You're like, oh, I lost. You know, like, it's not a fun thing to do. So, for you, when you get in there, you gotta kind of play a little smart. So, you know, I'm not gonna go out there. Could I go out there and just start swinging on the guy? 100%. You know, but I don't know what's gonna happen at that point. I want to put it in my the odds in my favor as much as I can.
Exactly.
Right. So when people come out there, I'm like, oh, you know, you should just did this, and that. I'm like, no, I could have,
but
right?
I won. So,
but you know, I won at the end of the day. You know, it's weird. People just want to feel like they're helping.
Yeah.
I guess. And like they want to kind of insert themselves like they know what they're talking about, but at the end of the day, either they don't, or be like, you know, you're not helping at all. Like, you know, for me, like, every time you win a fight, your confidence grows a little bit.
Right.
But then the minute you walk out of the ring and people are like, oh, like this, and that, I'm like, dude, like, what is this supposed to accomplish? Like right now, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand your motive behind it. Like, is it gonna? I'm like, you know what? That one guy in the crowd told me I should start faster. You know what? He probably right. You know.
You know what? I'm gonna do it next
It's not
time.
gonna help anything.
Hold on, let me get out my Blue's
like,
Clues.
damn, you know what? My coaches told me all this stuff, but you know what? This one guy who's drinking a beer, you know, and like, you know, could barely walk.
He had
you know,
wing sauce on his shirt.
I should probably listen to this guy though.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about.
So just looking at you, you're very, like, nice guy. You seem like you're very approachable, right?
Yeah.
So have you ever had somebody like a regular just try you out in the streets?
So no, because
he has the tattoos now.
no. To be honest, I think the only couple times stuff like that's happened is that people get a little nervous how calm I am at the time. and then they kind of back off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So like the few instances it has happened, like stuff gets. I'm like, hey, dude, relax. I don't think we want to do something like this right now. Da da da. And once they realize like, okay, everyone's really mad right now except that guy, I think they kind of like chill out a little bit. And as far as like school and stuff like that, I remember my brother got into a fight, and then that was the end of that.
Yeah.
I wrestled and stuff like that, so people have seen me do stuff. And then my brother got in a fight. Long story short, this guy and him were going at it. And the guy punched my brother. And my brother hit him with 1-2 and then choked him out. And ever since then, no one fucked with us at school. Like, they were kind of like, oh,
right.
yeah.
After that, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like it happened once and then they never happened again. But like going out and stuff like that, it's more so people just realize how calm I am, and I think they kind of know like, I don't know if I want this anymore. But 9 times out of 10, if you're calm, you'll probably calm the other person down too.
Yeah.
I think what happens a lot of times, like they get mad, you get mad, and then it keeps escalating until like then it gets physical. But for me, I'm just pretty calm about it because I'm like, I fight all the time. So like for me, do I want to get in street fights? No, I don't, right? But I fight all the time, so like it won't be that crazy of a thing, right? Like it's like
I might not even sweat. Like,
like to me, it'd be like, okay, we're fighting a little harder with no gloves. Like it's not a crazy idea to me. For them, it's like, how many times do they ever fight? You know?
Yeah.
Probably infrequently. You know?
So growing up, how often did you and your brother fight, and who won the most?
Very often because we loved like WWE and stuff like that too.
Oh, of course.
So you know how it started off is we were kind of playing around with that, and then someone goes a little too hard, and you're like, damn, that kind of hurt, and then we kind of go at it.
Back, yeah.
So I would like to say I did it the best because I feel like at that time I'm still tall. I was taller than him and everything like that, and like I said, my IQ was good, and most of those scraps I feel like I won. He could probably tell you differently, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, like even in sparring, sometimes like we beat the shit out of each other. Like sometimes, like some people are like, are they okay? They're like, nah, they're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like we're brothers, and I know like
It's a rivalry.
yeah, but I know I can hit him as hard as possible, and he won't take it personal.
Right.
At the end of the day, so we go at it even in sparring now to this day. Like we'll go even harder. I would say like pretty close to fight speed with each other sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, we can move on. So usually we talk about streaming, music, TV shows. So, are there any shows or anything that you typically watch, or anything you're watching right now?
Right now, I'm watching You.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
What was season 3 now?
You guys seen that
season
Fox?
3.
You seen that Fox News thing
No.
that I sent you guys a couple times? They on Fox News. They were
Yeah.
talking, and then they're like, the guy, one of the guy. There's a guy and a girl named Laura or something.
Yeah. She
And,
was the Shut Up and Dribble one, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Is
it
she?
was her.
I
They
wasn't
also-
sure. I don't pay attention.
They also said that she was trolling.
Oh, okay.
That would make sense because I was like, "There's no way this bitch is."
Yeah, because he was like, you, and she's like, me? What are you talking about? I never had the measles or whatever. Like, this,
Yeah.
like, you're talking about the show.
He was
He's
like, "No,
that
it's
show
from
you."
the show
You.
You."
He's like, Laura? Show Laura on Netflix? Like,
Yeah,
but
I
my
love
fault.
You. And then also the funny part about it too is like
I
this
love you too.
season. The season, I would say like they're getting to like a little bit about their marriage and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think the last episode I watched, they went to counseling.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn, they're saying some really profound shit right here.
Yeah.
And they move on to like the whole like murder-esque stuff. And I'm like, wait, they said some real cool stuff there. Like they kind of skipped over it a little bit. So I kind of like shows like that where they're kind of drop some stuff that we're really not paying attention to and not thinking about. And they kind of like transition out of it real quick with like the main topic.
Yeah.
Of it. So they're talking about pretty much both of them have like a lot of past trauma, and that's why they do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why a lot of people are the way they are, is because of like past stuff that happened. to
Yeah.
them. So I thought that was really cool that they kind of talked about that, and then they moved right back on to like the topic of what.
Yeah,
the
it's like,
episode was
oh,
about.
okay, this is why you are
Yeah.
like this. Yeah.
So that's the show I'm into. And then like, I'm into anime too, so I've been watching those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And musically, what you listening to?
Hold up, bro, we still on we still on streaming shows.
I'm sorry. I don't be streaming shit. My bad.
AJ, is there anything you watching right now?
Honestly, no, I haven't watched it much.
Oh,
But,
okay.
I mean, Dune, I watched that. That was really good. I still have to see the I forgot what it's called. The movie on Netflix that just came out with Lakeith Stanfield, Idris Elba, the Black Cowboy movie.
The soundtrack
There
is
Will
super
Be or
fire.
something,
Yeah.
or like there, I don't know, something
I know
like
what
that.
you're talking about, but the soundtrack for that is super fire.
Yeah, so I have to check it out.
'cause
I've only heard good
that's why
things.
Jay-Z came back to Instagram just to post about because I think he like A&R'd or some shit, the
Yeah.
album or something like that. But AJ, I don't know if you saw about it, because I know you a Will Ferrell fan like me, but him and
There's a movie coming out.
well, it's a show.
Oh, it's a show?
It's called I wrote it down.
Hangover.
No, it's not.
The
The Shrink
Hangover.
Next Door.
The Shrink Next Door.
Yeah. Why am I blanking? The dude that was in
Zach Galifianakis.
No,
Galifianakis. No.
Isn't he
What
Ant-Man? I
movie?
think he's
What movie is? Oh, Paul Rudd.
Yeah, Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a show. Paul Rudd's like he's a shrink, and then Will Ferrell's like I think he's like. I was watching last night. I was under the influence of stuff, so sorry if I was.
Oh, it's out already.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
on
I gotta
Apple.
watch it.
It's on Apple TV. So far, I'm 2 episodes in. It's pretty good. I think you'll like it. It's not like funny, but I mean there are of course funny moments.
Yeah.
So I'm watching.
It's a show, so like the funny parts are gonna be like stretched out over.
So it's a little
stuff.
more serious. And then the girl that was also in Step Brothers, she's the one that was like
the one that liked Dale.
Yeah, the one that was having sex in the like
In the
urinal
vat,
or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, she's his
Oh, I
sister
just
in the
curled
show.
up inside here.
Saddle Up Pony Boy, that was her. But it's pretty good. Also, I know I told y'all I was rewatching Dexter for like the 15 millionth time. So if you like you'll probably like Dexter. But the new season of Dexter also just started back up, and right now I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it, because a big part of why I like Dexter originally was, of course, because it took place in Miami.
That's because he was a murderer.
I mean, there's that as well. But
I love murderers.
I've always said that I'm biased anything that's Miami. Like anything that's Miami, I'm gonna watch it and enjoy it. But now it takes place in like Oregon or something like that. His son comes and finds him, but I'm pretty sure it's different directors. It just seems like it's shot way different now. Like the cinematography, the lighting, the colors, the music, like everything is, and it feels more like a movie now. When before it felt like a
So it feels
show.
like Oregon.
Yeah, I guess. But
Oregon. Like,
I don't know. And there's parts where like, because his sister is dead. Spoiler alert! If you haven't watched
Nigga,
Dexter.
I didn't even get to that episode yet.
But she keeps like resurfacing and like has these monologues, and it's like a scary movie. I don't know. So I don't know how I feel about it. And then last but not least, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Love that show. I know none of y'all watch it, but I would definitely recommend watching the last episode. That shit had me dying last night. It kind of reminded me of Chappelle's show with Clayton Bigsby.
You don't need a context for the last episode? I mean, to go straight to the last episode of a series is kind of wild.
No, well, because
Like, no character development, no nothing, just last show.
No, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like, yeah, it helps watching like previous episodes, but I mean, it's a funny show, so like you can watch any random episode.
it's a sitcom, so.
Yeah, but I mean, it does have a storyline, so like watching everything helps with context, like you
So now
said.
I'm confused.
But so Larry David, he's a writer from Seinfeld, and he's a Jewish guy. And so there was, in the episode, there was like a hate rally happening in California because that's where he lives. And so he's walking down the street, bumps into a KKK member who was like carrying his robe heading to the hate rally. And so Larry David like spills, like they bump into each other, and the dude spills coffee on his KKK robe. And so Larry David, he feels responsible for having to clean it.
Oh, no.
So then he takes it to the dry cleaner. The dry cleaner, he's also Jewish.
Don't ruin it if I'm going to watch the last episode.
No, he's not going to watch it.
Yeah, you're
Shut
not
up,
gonna
Phil.
watch it. But also, JB Smooth, he's a comedian. He's in the show, and he's a black dude. He lives with Larry David in the show. They're not gay or anything. They just live together because they're friends. And so he
got a
he's-
preference.
He's like, whoa, just so you know.
No homo, though.
No, so in the scene, like Larry walks into the house. JB runs to his seat, and Larry's like, "What were you just doing? Like you were scurrying like a mouse." And JB is acting dumb. He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Long story short, JB was eating watermelon, and he admits to Larry, like, "I don't like white people seeing me eat watermelon." Like it's a thing with black people, and so. Just throughout the episode, like Larry takes him to the grill. He was like, "We're gonna do this one step at a time. I'm gonna make you comfortable with eating watermelon in front of white people." So they go to the grocery store. Like you just gotta watch that episode.
No,
I
it's
don't
funny.
want
It
to
sounds
ruin
funny.
everything.
Yeah.
But the last episode was fucking hilarious, bruh.
And that's in the last episode?
Yeah, and Woody Harrelson's in the last episode too. The dude from White Men Can't Jump. But that's
He's in
all
a
I
lot of
got
stuff.
as far as streaming
Yeah.
goes. But we could talk about music now.
Oh, wait, before we get there, did you guys see that that they made a Korean Muppet for
did
Sesame
not.
Street?
I did not.
Nope.
No.
Is it K-pop?
I don't know, but like they made a Korean, It was like all over the
I did
news and
not
stuff.
see
Like,
this.
oh, they introduced a Korean
I did not
character,
see this at all.
and like, cool. I don't know. Some people were happy, but they're like, and like, cool. I don't know. Some people were happy, but they're like, oh, cool representation, so on, so on. But Trevor Noah said something hilarious, and he was what did he say? He was like, okay, cool, great that we have a Korean Muppet, but what are the rest of them?
Yeah, that is very true.
Like what? Like what
That
is?
very
They don't
true.
specify
What is
that for any
Oscar
of them.
the Grouch? Like what
Yeah.
race is he, or like, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I
What
just
makes you
thought that was a
crazy?
little
Like the
funny.
accent, or
I don't know. I mean,
how
way-
Korean
the way
can you
they-
make a Muppet?
right,
Yeah, how do you do that without being racist?
right. Like I put some almond-shaped eyes on it, and like now, I don't know. But they did it.
We could talk about music now. So since we recorded the last episode, there has been a lot of new music that dropped. So what do you listen to, Mo? Or is there anything you listening to right now?
I would say I mostly listen to like a lot of like R&B stuff recently.
Okay.
See, he's a lover.
I know I am.
His fight song was smooth too.
That
It
way-
was chill.
Yeah, I don't like coming out to hype stuff, man.
Yeah.
It gets me too anxious.
Okay.
I
Right.
need something to calm me down. But right now, I listen to the Silk Sonic album.
Okay.
I like that one a lot. And I'm excited for. I know Brent Faison's coming out with another album soon.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is completely two different. Like, you know, Silk Sonic's very like, you know, they're
Yeah,
pretty 90s to like late
70s,
70s,
yeah.
but also like, you know, they have something about like loving girls and stuff like that. Where Brent Faison's like the toxic,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know, kind of side of that stuff. But I love Brent Faison, to be honest with you guys.
I liked him more when he was with it when it was Sonder. When it was Sonder.
You know, I just realized he was Sonder like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I looked up Sonic. I'm like, dude, who is this guy? He just stopped making music, and and I saw Brent Faison's face, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
crap.
He got me.
I don't know why. Like I just felt like his vibe was a little bit different. It was a little bit. I don't know.
I think it's just because the producers he used,
Mm.
right? Because he was mostly with like more like they kind of fell in the umbrella of like EDM kind of producers.
Mhm.
So that stuff was just a little bit different than what he uses now.
Phil, I know you were extremely excited about Silk Sonic. What are your thoughts on the album?
I haven't heard it yet because I haven't
What?
really driven.
Because he's listening to the new what is it? That guy that drops every 2 weeks?
Currency?
It's Currency, yes.
No, new Currency hasn't dropped. He's actually gonna drop some new stuff, but
Of
the death
course.
of Dolph kind of delayed that back.
Yeah.
But I haven't really listened to a lot of new music lately, just because. I mean, I haven't driven to the. Usually, I listen to new music when I drive to the pod because it's a long drive
Yeah.
or to your place. Like usually, I just been driving to the gym. So when I go to the gym, I
You get your tire fixed?
It's 10 minutes. It's literally right around the corner. It's
But
like-
did you get your tire fixed?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
I got my tire. Yeah, I got that fixed. But I was saying that only places I've been driving has been to the gym and to
Mhm.
Yeah.
train. And so usually when I go to gym and train, I gotta have something that puts me in like a hype mode.
Bro, I really wish as of late I wasn't so busy, because for the 1 year anniversary like clip, I wanted to just make a clip of all Phil Logic, because Phil Logic is never
Amazing.
makes it.
First
No.
of all, yo, don't
Hey,
make
for the
sense when I talk.
anniversary, shout
Real
out to
shit.
shout out to
I
wait for
really-
the anniversary. Shout out to Zach. Zach's been putting in a lot of work for the pod, and I
Facts.
appreciate him.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I realize sometimes you guys give Phil a hard time.
Thank you.
Like I think the last one was
About the TV.
the TV. Yes,
Yeah.
it was about the TV in the room, and I was like, I get it, but I was like, man, they're giving him a hard time.
No,
Like,
but
making
'cause-
sense.
So
I'm like,
what
you making
that
perfect
TV
sense.
thing? I mean, it makes sense, but what our point got lost because in Phil fashion, he distracts you from what you're actually trying to say, and he starts making points that don't matter to what you're saying. Really, it was just funny that it sounded like the TV was gonna bully him into watching it,
Yeah.
and that's where I like. If that is and that's the only thing he said before the pod. He's like, nah, because if I go in there, it's gonna make me watch. I'm gonna have to watch it if it's
I
in
have
there.
a TV in my room, I'm gonna.
Bro, we
watch
went
it.
through this. We went through this. We're
It's
just
like
we went. Oh.
they make it seem like, yo, if I have a dresser in my room, like I don't have to use it. So why the fuck is it in there?
Yo,
Yeah, you
how,
don't
no,
have to
time out,
use
time
it.
out, time out. How much stuff that do you have in your room that you don't use daily?
How much stuff did I have in my nothing?
Yeah, there's
Okay, Phil.
there's
lot
no
of
way.
nothing.
There's no way.
The only thing I got in there that I don't use daily is a fanny pack that's on top of my dresser. But everything that's in my room, lamps, a bed, a dresser.
How many
a
pillows?
closet,
How
and
many
clothes.
pillows are on your bed?
Danny has we have like 6 or 8.
And
But I have a special.
you
pillow.
use
I have
one.
like an orthopedic pillow.
and you use one pillow.
Yeah, but those
Okay.
the rest of the pillows I didn't buy.
Um,
Danny bought those pillows. So you talking about stuff that I use that I
Yeah.
put in the room I use, which
Uh-huh.
is only my clothes
Yeah.
and my orthopedic pillow for my neck because I get.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I bet I'm not gonna go in your room, but I could find 3 things in there that like you have.
I told you I got a fanny pack.
The whole
told you I got a
point.
fanny
Listen,
pack.
the whole point of me bringing this up is because I know you've been listening to music riding to class or wherever you've been going. But
I told you I was going. So why you questioning where I'm going?
it doesn't make sense to me that you like it has to only be to the pod where you can listen to a full album.
Well, no,
You
because
also work from home where you can play the
He likes
music.
to
You take
listen to
Toby
albums
for
in
walks.
continuation.
no, listen. If I'm checking out a new album, I want to be able to listen to it in one session.
Okay.
I don't want to be and then when I'm driving, I can focus, cause I can turn my brain on autopilot because I know
Yeah.
the route to your house.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, all right, I can jam my music, got the bass in the back, so now if I know if the beat's hitting or not, and I'm like, all right, I can pay attention to bars, or if it's like bar heavy, I can listen to the bars, or if it's like some shit that's gonna give me my feels, I can get in my feels because I'm by myself and I'm on the road. That's the best time to listen to music, when you by yourself and it's just road, and I have an hour's worth of road to get to your spot. So I don't want to like start it and then. So let me throw this Silk Sonic on fucking 4 tracks in, and this might be the best song on there. I just pull up to the gym, now I gotta go train. Damn. And then I get back to the car. Let me start song 4 over, and I done forgot about the other 3 songs and how that blends into the album. That's not a good listening experience.
Yeah, I usually do two listens. So I'll put it on when I wake up in the morning. I just let it play.
Yeah.
From like me brushing my teeth, getting ready, all that stuff.
So
It's
like a normal person.
I do like a regular listen, and I'll do an in-depth listen after.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do my in-depth listen first. I have to do my in-depth listen first. Like, because like how I like watch music, and I watch a lot of reaction
I
channels.
watch music.
How I listen to music. Well, I say watch music because I watch reaction channels, and that's what I'm thinking. But how I listen to music, like when I gotta be like wild on that first listen
Yeah.
to even want to go back to the project. So I don't want to like possibly skim through it and then give it a second listen. I want to be like, let me just give it my full attention, because I'll know off the bat, like, I'm probably not gonna like this song even if I play it back 3 months from now.
Got you.
Which is, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Well, that's why I do my first listen, because if like of the first listen when I'm not really paying attention, it's horrible. I'm not gonna give it a deeper listen.
See,
Yeah.
Yeah.
see, and you might miss something that's good, and be like, damn, I should have been paying attention to this.
Or he could save himself the effort of paying attention to something that's trash. Like, there's 2 sides to the coin.
I guess y'all just want to give me a hard time, man.
No, how is that giving
See,
you a
and this
hard
is what I'm learning
time?
how
You
to
just
fight,
gave
so I
him a
can
hard
whoop
time.
niggas like this. So because I get bullied all the time.
Well, you could have listened, but I understand your process, Phil, so it's fine.
Oh, one more thing. You teach kids. Is bullying worse nowadays? I meant to ask you this earlier, but
Yes, for sure. Well, it's because they got a lot of time on their hands, right? Like they were not in school for like 2 years. Now they're finally back. Like kids just don't know how to interact with each other anymore.
You can also get bullied on the internet. Growing up,
Yeah.
there wasn't that. Like you
That is
can
very
bully someone in person and then be blowing up them on social or whatever and still bullying them. You know, it's
Yeah.
like there's more reach.
It's just more reach, and then like also the fact that like those are one of the hardest things to teach, right? When I'm teaching them a lot of stuff, like okay, if they do this, you do this. And they're like, what about if they, comment on my TikTok all the time? I'm like, I don't fucking
Block
know.
'em.
Like, I was like,
You-
block 'em, bro. Like,
you block 'em.
what do you want?
And it takes you this special move. We
you
gotta
mean tell me
block.
they don't like my TikTok video? It's just wild.
But like I've read some crazy stories. Like the kids are just like kids are assholes, bro. Like they just really are. So I think definitely bullying has gotten worse. I think just as time goes along, bullying gets worse because there's more ways to bully people. But
And kids are more like are privy to more information now.
Yeah.
So like you can like
Google it.
not even Google it, but also like you can like think about like people at school didn't like there's your mama jokes, but they might have seen your mama once, or like or but they can also just go
Yeah.
on Instagram and see everything your mom has ever said or whatever or done, or like yo your mom really be out here like this, like it's different.
nah, definitely.
There's different ways you can get at
People are
people
saying
now.
crazier stuff younger too. Like I
Yeah,
remember this
that's
one
what I'm
kid
saying,
told me
yeah.
What one of the kids at school called. I'm like, how do you even know that?
Right.
I was like, I didn't even know what that was when I was that age. So they also know a lot more now than they used to. And they're smarter. So like some of the stuff, I'm not gonna say funny, but like they're a little witty. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like they're getting a little more creative with the stuff they say too.
Yeah, because I mean, you can see comedians put not their best content, but like you can see comedians be funny on social and like mess with someone a certain way and then just like rip,
Yeah,
So you're seeing a pro do it. Now you're a 7-year-old, you're saying it to a kid, and you don't like really understand that.
I will say that it's more verbal than it's ever been. Usually I would say it's like a lot of kids are getting physically bullied and some kids are getting like verbal bullied. Now it's like I would say like 75% of them is
Yeah,
verbal.
it's definitely
That was
verbal,
gonna go into
mental.
my next question. You ever had one of your kids come back and be like, "Y'all just punched my bully, beat his ass"?
Last week.
Last week.
Last week I had a kid, you know,
It's lit.
and the mom's like, hey, can you talk to the, because so I like the parents. I tell the parents, like, let me hear from the kids' side of the first story, and then you tell me, because the kids are always going to, you know, hide some stuff they don't want you to hear. And the parent tell you that. So I'm like, hey, dude, what happened? He's like, look, guys been bullying for a while. One day he said something, and I just punched him. And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, like, I was like, you know, my thing is, you know, I think with, if it's really consistent, I don't think you should punch a kid in the face.
Yeah.
But I definitely think you should, you know, you have to defend yourself whatever way it is. But yeah, I've had a couple kids where they're just like, I had a kid like 3 years old. I guess some kid grabbed his arm, so he punched him. And I was like, dude, like, you know, he's like, but it was physical, right? And I was like, he grabbed your arm. I don't think a punch is like the same level as that. But he's
Well,
like, he's like 5 years old, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know the levels to it, you know?
Yeah, I was in middle school and this kid was messing with me all the time, right? And I didn't want to fight him because like I knew I was gonna whip him, but still, and he thought that was an invitation to try me, and he kept going. So I just approached him and I was like, bro, but, like I kind of enticed him, but not really. But I just was in his face like, all right, what's gonna happen? And he pushed me. I was like, all right, bet. Okay, that's it. And then I went to class after. I fought him. And they didn't break it up because it was just we were in. You ever been by Everglades High School?
I like once or twice.
There's like portables kind of not there, but like kind of by where I live, and that's where we went. And the teachers couldn't see anything. But so the fight ended because I just got up off of him and went to class. And they pulled me out of class and it's like, you were in a fight, and I was like, all right. And they came like, is Anthony? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going, guys. I know what this is about.
Yeah, kids. I say like it's more verbal now than anything else. I don't really get a lot of stuff where like, okay, a kid's pushing me every single day. It's more like this kid keeps, you know, every time I walk into class, he says something about it. So, you know, now I gotta be a little more strategic on how I teach it, because now I'm like, it's not always physical. Now I gotta teach them, okay, what do you do when someone's verbal about it? And I gotta teach them like the steps of what you should do. You know.
So the sticks and stones that don't apply no more.
Nah.
Is that archaic?
That is archaic. I mean, some shit really do hurt, you know. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I hear this stuff.
Well,
like,
words be having
that was rough.
words will have kids bring guns to school. It's different.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm asking,
Yeah.
because he works with kids. I don't work
Yeah.
with kids, and he's teaching them, you know, self-defense. So that's a part of like building tough skin, right?
Yeah, I would say like, look, I would say, how do I say? There's a certain point though where I do feel like, you know, you gotta defend yourself. I tell the kids all the time. I was like, either physical or verbal, you have to defend yourself, right? But I do also let them know, like, you gotta know, like, sometimes the stuff are hurtful, but there are just words at the end of the day, right? Like, if he punches you, that's a very like physical thing where you're like, okay, this hurts here. But you know, the verbal stuff, you know, it doesn't hurt as much, but they gotta learn that it's not. So it's more so like emotional control, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
if you have emotional control, you're like, you know what, whatever. He's just being an asshole today, you know. But
Right.
if you take everything to heart, like, it's gonna hurt you a lot more. So I think it's also just teaching the kids, you know, kind of how to take it in a little bit too.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like, I mean, I don't know if this would work, but most of the time, people mess with people about stuff that they're insecure about on themselves.
100%. Yeah.
So it's like, he's really talking about himself when he's talking to you, or he's saying these things. He's really insecure about whatever, like he's,
Yeah,
he's only noticing this thing because like he thinks about this and it really bothers him, you know?
Yeah. I think a lot of bullies have like this little weird complex where like they want to be the strongest and toughest guy. Because mind you, as much as people we get as they're being bullied, I do get a couple of bullies every once in a while.
Right, they're like, I
Where
want
the
to.
kids will like, I have this kid, you know, he beats the crap out of the little kids. Like he destroys them. I'm like, dude, like, calm down a little bit. But when he fights the bigger kids, right, he runs around the room, doesn't want to get hit. I'm like, there it is, right? Like, he preys on people he feels like are a little, you know, less than what he is, and probably because he gets bullied too, right? So a lot of things is like a cycle, right? Like, you get bullied, so you get mad about it, and then, you know, you see someone else, you're having a bad day, you're like, fuck, I'm just gonna load it on them.
Yeah.
So real quick, I'll wrap this music thing up. Donda, the Deluxe album that came out. I don't know if anybody listened to that.
Nah, I'll probably play it on the way home when I'm driving home from the pod, so I can give it my full attention.
Honestly, I mean, usually the Deluxe has more songs, but what Kanye did with this one, he added more songs as well as re-sequenced a lot of the songs. And honestly, I like the sequencing on the Deluxe a little bit better than I did on
2 hours,
the
bro. I'm not giving Ye that much of my time.
It's long.
Bro, I was like, I looked at the Deluxe and was like 2 hours. I'm like, all right, let me just go to the new songs. I already got the other ones.
I like it though.
The
'cause
Andre 3000 ones is good.
Fire.
Yeah.
That should have been on the original. I don't know how you screwed that one up.
Well, because it was
'Cause it was cursing on it.
was
He
a
didn't want
Drake diss.
Well, no, it was cursing on every song, and he just edited it out.
I think with that one,
Well,
I
I
think
mean,
Andre
that's what-
didn't want the,
yeah, that's
the
what-
cursing to get taken out.
That's what he
Oh.
said. He said, "Don't put
Disagreement.
it on because I can't have this." Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he still
Bleep.
edited it out on the Deluxe version.
Oh, did he?
No, there's a version that has
The
the cursing in
single,
it.
Yeah.
the single
The single,
version,
yeah.
but on the actual Deluxe version, it doesn't curse.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So with the album, it doesn't curse.
What I'm thinking is probably they kind of came to agreements. If you put it out with both, then I'll probably.
Bro, this shit
accept it,
too fire not to put out. We gotta put this out.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, that's literally one of the best verses on it. Cause before then, I thought Jay Electronica had the best verse. Now I might have to put 3K in that conversation.
I wish he would come out with a solo album.
Who?
Andre
3K?
3000. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But I mean, like every time he does a feature, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't.
We just
I
need
can't
some
name
new
one
Frank
that is bad.
because he'll get on Frank. He'll jump on Frank's albums,
When's Frank coming back with new music?
and he needs to.
Who
He's
knows?
due.
Yeah.
We need to go back to Chicago because he'll drop music again.
I'm
That's
just
when he
waiting on
dropped Blonde.
Kendrick. I just need Kendrick in my year be straight.
I feel like that's coming soon. That's coming real soon.
It has to. I
It's
cannot
better.
Christmas.
wait.
It better.
I need him to just come out, put an album out, and remind everybody that I'm Kendrick. And when it comes to these albums, y'all not fucking with me.
Yeah, my only that's my only critique on Kendrick is he just doesn't come out with like enough to me.
consistent.
Yeah.
But the thing is for him, and I don't mind it because every project he has is great. So he's one of the few artists where he puts out an album and I'm like, that's mid. No, Drake, half his albums are mid. And I'm like, could have kept that album. J. Cole, most of his albums are really good. There's some I'm like, kind of mid. Kendrick, I'm like, every album's good. Even if you didn't like To Pimp a Butterfly, you can't deny how creative
Yeah.
and how like impactful it is and how socially aware it was.
Yeah, but sometimes like I equate it to like a basketball player. Like if you make 3 out of 3 shots, like are you as good as someone who makes like 10 out of 15?
Yeah.
Right, he's putting more points on the board.
I would say he's just as good. Cause I mean his music still charts from
No,
like
no. He's saying
No, I get-
in his answer his question.
yeah.
You're doing the workaround
No, like
thing.
I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
And I'm saying like cause with that correlation,
Mm-hmm.
that's the Drake Kendrick. Cause Drake puts out high volume.
Yeah,
And a lot of the time is like, well, do you want volume? Because sometimes it's not always quality, it's quantity.
Oh, you said volume. I thought you said high value. Volume.
Volume. I mean, so it's like it's just quality. It's quantity or quality. And I think Kendrick focuses on strictly quality. And I think Drake is all quantity. Like he just floods. And a lot of times he hits.
I think-
and then a lot of
yeah.
times he misses. So it's like, who's really the best?
yeah.
Well,
That's why I also like J. Cole recently because at some point he was like, all right, I'm just gonna do a whole bunch of features. I'm gonna make an album. So with J. Cole, I was like, okay, all of his stuff, even the stuff that you wouldn't say is his best work, is still good.
it's still good. Yeah,
That's why for me personally, like I like J. Cole so much.
he's a
because
J Cole hater.
Who's J. Cole?
Yeah, I don't like J. Cole.
J. Cole's. I
Yeah.
don't hate him, but I don't like love him that
I
much.
used to
though.
be a fan.
So what's your thing with J. Cole?
Boring.
I liked him prior to and it's funny because everyone loves Friday Night Lights, and that's when I like stopped liking him. I don't know. It got boring to me. Like I don't know.
Nah, I'm a huge J. Cole.
My-
I was
for
at the
me-
concert not too long ago.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that. But for me, I think he just lately his stuff, like you said, has been sounding a little more polished or different. Not that his stuff before was polished, but it just always sounded the same. And I was like, I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
it's the same food that I've been being fed for a while. At a certain point, I'm like, I'm tired of this food.
Yeah.
But
But for some people, it's like it's my favorite food, so I can eat it all
I
the
can eat
time.
roti all the time, and
Yeah.
that's like J Cole. It's like I know exactly what I'm getting.
But like for me, it's like rice. Like rice is really good, But like sometimes after you've had so much rice,
There's
it's
only
like
so much you can have.
Yeah.
this is rice. Like all right, I need to take a 2-month break before I have rice again. And the next
Yeah.
time I have it, I'm like, yo, where's this rice been?
Favorite J Cole project, quick.
Favorite? Ooh, that's a hard one. I'm gonna say. Yeah, you put me on a small one.
Top 3. Make it easy.
I like his new album, but I wouldn't put it as like the top ones. To be honest with you, I would say it's up there. What's the one? Forest Hill
Forest Hill
Drive
Drive,
for sure is the top one. I like which one with Forbidden Fruit?
Not yours truly.
No, man, I don't. It's not Born Sinner, right? No, it might be Born Sinner.
Is that Born Center? It might be.
I do like Born Sinner a lot. That's
Really?
a big one for me. Yeah. I would say that's when I was always into J. Cole, but that's when I started really listening to him a lot. Yeah, that was probably one of the first albums I really liked to him. 3 is kind of hard to pick, I would say, but definitely those 2 are probably my top 2 for sure.
I'm Come Up, Warm Up, Friday, Forest Hill Drives.
Yeah.
Mixtape J. Cole was like, I'm like, bro, I can relate to this. Anytime I play the warm up, come up with a warm up, I'm like, I feel this. This is why I fell in love with J. Cole music. Because I'm like, like high school days was like, bro, this is like my high school.
Yeah, I'm going to say Forest Hill Drive is number 1 for me, though.
Oh, facts. Easily his best project.
Adele, she came out with new music today, and that shit is fucking beautiful.
Is it sad?
Yeah.
If it's happy Adele, I'm not listening.
No. It's. I mean, it's slow. I don't know if I'd say it's. I don't know if I'd say it's sad, but it's beautiful. I'll say that. And I guess you can kind of put this under, get it off your chest. But it really annoys me every time I'm on Twitter and Adele starts circulating a little bit, and people are saying like, "Oh my God, Adele looks so beautiful now because she's skinny," and then you always have someone saying, "This is fat phobic. Adele has always been beautiful."
No, she hasn't.
Like, why can't we just think she looks good
Healthy
now because she's lost some weight? I mean, in my opinion, I think she looks better skinny. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I also don't, like, we need to make sure that words are used in their literal sense, because having a phobia is what? Like having a fear?
It means you're afraid of something.
Yeah.
Afraid of something.
So to say it's fat phobic, to think that somebody looks better as a skinny person, yeah, I don't know. It's
I
annoying.
think people are so easily offended now. That's where that comes from.
Yeah.
But no, Adele's just she's good. Like she just has like a naturally. Cause even if you watch her like live performances, sometimes she'll go for an interview just straight into like singing again.
Yeah.
Like some people will need to like take a break, get some water,
Yeah.
go ahead. But she's just so good and so talented that she could go straight into singing.
Before I saw her, I had heard her on a song before I saw her, and I was like, damn, I thought she was black.
Yeah.
She sings with soul.
I was
That's what
like,
I like
damn,
a lot
Shorty,
about her.
I'm like, damn, I wonder what Shorty looked like. She way too soft. I'm thinking she's like some chocolate chick. I'm like, she white from fucking UK singing like this? Like, yo, I was mind blown. But she's fire. I rock
I'm
with
not
Adele.
comparing the two, but when I hear her sing, it does remind me of Whitney Houston. And again, I'm not comparing the
Niggas
two,
gonna
and I know
slander you for
that's
that.
blasphemous, but
It is. They're going to jump you.
that's fine.
But if you close your eyes and just heard her sing, you would not think she looks like that.
Yeah.
And I think she looks way better.
So what you're saying is you're
healthier.
fat phobic?
Yes, I am. I be fat shaming all the time. Like, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I don't care. Like, I'm sorry. It's unhealthy.
Yeah.
That's my whole argument. Like, yes, I get if you have some, like,
But then you have
disorder.
the super pro fat people that say, why is that unhealthy?
because you're going to die of cardiovascular disease.
Hey, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just
And if you want to argue with me, don't argue with me. Argue the science.
Argue with me.
Don't argue. Look, I'm not arguing with you over the science. America's one of the fattest countries in the world, and we have one of the highest cardiovascular disease rates. Why? Because your arteries are clogged, and you're fat and lazy, and you don't get out and be active, and you eat like shit. That's facts. So if you're saying, oh, you're fat phobic or you're fat shaming, no, I'm unhealthy shaming because I want you to live longer. So actually, you being selfish by promoting being fat, and I think you misleading the people. Mm-hmm. I'm promoting health. Go out and be active, run, eat your vegetables. That's what I'm for, because I want to live till I'm 100. Might not happen because I'm reckless, but I have my aspirations. So.
Oh, dear.
All right, well, that's all I got. Mo, you got any last thoughts or anything you want to let the people know?
No, I would say the only thing for me personally is that I think you guys should just go ahead and follow, like, it's a very cliche thing of, like, follow your dreams kind of thing, but, like, I think one of the coolest things about doing a sport that I kind of love, like throughout my whole childhood, is that, you know, a lot of people, I get all the time where I get guys coming to the gym and they're like, oh man, I could have been a soccer player, I could have been a football guy, or I could have been this, I could have been that, you know. But I think I was like, oh, did you ever try it? Like, nah, I didn't. You know, like I don't think, you know, if everyone could be a superstar, then there'd be like a million of them, right? But what makes them special is the fact that there's only so many of them. But I do think that like the pursuit of it and like trying it, at least, you know, right? You're like, look, I tried that route, didn't really work out for me. Okay. But, you know, I just think like whatever you guys want to do, like go ahead and just try it out. Like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I think that it's one of those things where like you just gotta go out there and try it. You know, I'm pretty young, so I'm 24, right? So for me, like I can fuck up for 4 years in a row and still be super young.
And still be straight.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So definitely like, you know, people around my age, like go just try the stuff you guys want to do. Because at the end of the day, like you might end up going a lot farther than you think you can. You know, like for me personally, like, you know, we are thinking about going professional next year, which is something that when I first started fighting, I never thought would be even like something on my radar, but now it is. So definitely, like, you know, just go ahead and try those things because you never know what you can actually do.
I can't wait to be like, nigga, I know professional fighters, and them niggas get me right. Yo, I'm happy.
Phil gonna be one of the people that, hey man, you should do this during your fight. You gonna be like that Drewski meme. When
I'm definitely not gonna be. Nah.
He's like, I taught him that.
Nah,
I call
like,
him Little Tank.
Like Mo said earlier, fighting humbles you. So like, even no matter how bad you think, like, I would never like watching their fight. I literally was just like, bro, good shit. Like, cause I don't know what to tell you. Cause you teaching me. How I'm gonna tell you something and you teaching me.
Yeah, that's why.
And then I know you can beat my ass. Like, bro, what am I gonna tell you?
Yeah.
Especially for me to tell you.
Especially when I talk MMA, it's always like a question. Like I feel like not I think I know, but like all right, this is kind of what I see, but like, or what I think I'm seeing, but I ask a question when I'm like, all right, you know.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, this is it. Like I don't know. Like I don't do this.
I sparred for 2 minutes and felt like I was gonna pass out.
Yeah.
So I get it. I understand. Like I look at how hard they train and like the hours they put in, and then I go in the gym and I'm like, damn, I want to do a fight camp or I want to train for a fight, and then I look at their training schedule and I'm like, how? Like I got so much work to even get. Like my in shape is not in shape at all.
Yeah.
And like I've been doing classes in kickboxing, I'm just like, bruh, like this shit's tiring as hell.
Yeah, it's like there's regular shape and we call it fight shape, right? Like that's when you're like, okay, I'm in fight shape, but like regular being in shape, you know, it's just they're two different things, you know. But you know, I think, yeah. But my main message is like just go for it, you know. Like even with the podcast, I'm sure like when you guys first came up with the idea, you know, there's a lot of people who probably come up with cool ideas like this and they just never do it.
I mean, that happened to us. Zach talked about this and we were in college.
Yeah,
we should do a podcast.
And now a year in.
That was like a long time ago.
For real, man. But man, it's been a pleasure having you on. Definitely learned a lot. I'm sure the listeners learned a lot, and hopefully we can get some women to partake in some self-defense classes. Yeah. And hopefully we can get you some clients and whatnot if you're in the South Florida area.
Plug all your stuff.
Yeah, your socials, Twitter, Instagram, any of that stuff.
John Wayne Gym, if you're in the Plantation area.
To the gym, John Wayne Martial Arts and Plantation. You can follow me on Instagram at BGTD_MMA. That's my MMA page. So just the initial Boom Goes the Dynamite _MMA.
It's lit. It's been another episode of Save It for the Pod. Phil, hit the drop.
Knocking you niggas out.
Peace.
Blowing people's ear. What is it? Eardrums.
Eardrums.